Sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device.
Was he 100% serious?
He was pissed because it happened on numerous
occasions. Yeah. All he's got to do, right, is point up to the rafters and go, "Yeah, that's my ID right up there.
My ID's right there,
hanging right up there."
Yeah, probably some security guard wearing a Derrick Rose jersey. Probably a Bulls Derrick Rose jersey.
A Bulls Derrick Rose jersey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Log Room. It is Wednesday, May the 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo, 2021. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And with me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Jumbleman.
Hello.
What is a Jumbleman?
Jumbleman. Why not? What the hell? The Jumbleman podcast.
It's a gentleman who does jumbles in the park.
This is true.
A Jumbleman.
Happy Cinco de Mayo to you guys.
Yeah, it is. It's already May 5th.
Did you have a beer or a margarita today?
I have not.
Taco, maybe?
No.
Enchilada?
No.
Chalupa?
Isn't that kind of just boiling this down to something that we're just turning this into St. Patrick's Day?
Not at all. No, I mean,
asking people, did you have
I could
green
ask
beer?
I would ask if you had corned beef today, but I don't think that would really go. I mean, just...
But that's my point, is that,
All right. Did you celebrate the freedom of Mexico today? How's that?
No, I celebrate that every day.
All right.
And
that's...
Cinco de Mayo isn't really the Mexican Independence Day.
Is it? What is it exactly?
I believe it's a day in which they won a battle against the French.
Okay.
If I'm really... Because I think September 16th is actually Mexican Independence Day.
Now that you say that, I think you're right. It's in September. I was just thinking about that. Yeah. So.
But that's okay.
It's
okay. It's not even that popular, according to people that I know from Mexico. It's not even that big of a day in Mexico. Much like St. Patrick's Day is nowhere near the party in Dublin that it is in Worcester.
No, not exactly. Not at all. Not at all. But you know what? We bastardize a lot of things here. So, what the hell?
That's right.
What the hell?
I believe that's called Americanize.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got it wrong?
Yeah, we take it and we make it about what we want it to be about.
She was knocking me out with those American eyes.
Thighs.
Something like that.
Oh.
Thighs.
Yeah, so...
There were thighs.
Yeah, I haven't... actually, I don't think margaritas are even, like, the most popular drink.
Probably not.
What did I hear
Straight
today?
Tequila probably is more like
No, Palermo?
Paloma.
A Paloma is a drink. Yeah.
It's like more popular, actually, than a margarita. I think
right.
somebody was quoting that. They heard it on the Food Network. So
Paloma's similar to a margarita, just without all the super sourness.
Oh, okay.
According to the interwebs, the Paloma might just edge out the margarita for being the most popular cocktail in Mexico. Simple and refreshing, the Paloma is a tequila-based drink made with grapefruit soda or juice, tequila blanco, and lime, and served on the rocks.
Right. Yeah.
There you go.
Take out the super sourness and the frozen and salt and everything.
That's just it.
If you ever go and somebody offers you a pre-made frozen Paloma, no, you want a fresh Paloma.
Fresh Paloma, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's easy to make. Is my point. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
I don't particularly care for the frozen one. I like it on the rocks and the salt on the rim, but that's hard to do at home.
Are we still talking about drinks?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the International Bartending Hour with the Lager Room guys.
He likes a little salt on the rim.
Could be talking a couple of different things. Actually, I have a rim salter.
Salt on the rim.
Somebody gave me a.
That's a good podcast name.
The salt on the rim. There you go.
Now that's been done before. Let me see. Hang on. Let me see.
Seems like you have that in your favorites.
Let me pretend that I don't have that bookmark. Salt on.
Sometimes you need a little salt on the rim.
Is that all one word, hyphenated?
Salt on the rim, hyphenated. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe a little of each. But yeah. Somebody actually got me a
my favorite Beach Boys song, "Salt on the Rim."
A salter, which is like a little.
Or was it Jimmy Buffett?
Sombrero. You put the salt in, and then you rub the lime on the glass and dip it in there. But it didn't work so good after like the first two times. But.
Well, at least you had fun during the first two times.
But if I could
you got to drink them, right?
Yeah. Well, right. Then it didn't matter if it was
It
fun.
didn't matter. Who gives a shit?
At the first two. This is no fun anymore. Shut up.
Yeah.
But yeah, grapefruit soda, one of my favorite things.
Sure. No, it's
So
absolutely.
I might have a
little Fresca for you.
yeah.
Fresca.
How about a Fresca?
Fresca.
Can you mix it with tequila and lime and put it over ice?
Put it over ice. Absolutely.
Tequila and wine.
Tequila. There you go. Exactly. Well, we're speaking of food. There's this. How does this look to you guys? And I'll describe it for those of you just listening to the audio podcast. It is a really delicious burger on a bun with. I'll tell you what it is. It's a burger with blended with black truffles, maple spiced caramelized onions, and smoked Gouda cheese with lettuce, tomato, claw sauce, whatever that is, and much more. With the obviously frizzled onions and everything else. How's that look to you guys? Look good?
Is that lettuce
That's lettuce
on the bottom there?
I think.
Yes,
yeah.
Pete. That green thing is called.
No,
lettuce.
that's well.
It's just an odd-looking piece of lettuce, but
I have some
That
color.
looks like bib lettuce.
it's probably Boston bib lettuce. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a little color deficiency, so it kind of looked like a really old piece of cheese.
There you
Could
go.
be.
It looks a little bit yellow to me.
It could be. It could be. Could be guac.
It looks pretty tasty. It looks
pretty
like
tasty.
a mini brioche bun there.
right.
So
You know what this is? You know what this is?
Mexico's national dish.
No. This is the Polar Burger at Citi Field.
Really?
Yes, this is Pete Alonso's own invention. Is Polar Burger from Pat LaFreda Meats.
With truffles and Boston lettuce.
Absolutely, and you get it at Citi Field for the low price of just $16.50.
Yeah.
So there
Seems
you go.
worth it.
Exactly.
Is that a slider or is it an actual burger?
Comes with two
it's just
comes
a
with
slider.
two paddles. It comes with the first refibrillator charged free after the
It's not a defibrillator. It's a refibrillator.
defibrillator. Yeah.
So,
I'm sure it's been done once. So.
Exactly. So you got to refibrillate again.
Right.
But no, Pete Alonso worked with. I'm assuming he did either that or just put his name on it. One or the other.
Now, where is that sold? Is that a
Citi
general
Field.
concession or?
Citi Field? Yeah, they got him. Well, there's all the concession stands. There's the different, the Shake Shack. There's Pat LaFreda stands. Obviously, these are at Pat LaFreda stands.
Obviously, who's that?
Obviously, well, there's the, Pat LaFreda. They have a filet
Who's
mignon.
Pat LaFreda?
You know,
Pat LaFreda is a meat purveyor in the New York metro area.
They just took Chili Davis's ultimate chili dog off the menu.
They removed the Chili Davis dog, and that's gone now.
It used to cost $2.74, and now it costs $1.33.
As well as the full Slater of fries.
Yeah,
they're gone too. I don't know. I want to know what they're going to invent. What food they're going to use Quattlebaum for.
I don't know.
It's going to be interesting.
Well, so listen,
Quattlebaum is.
judging from
Hugh Quattlebaum replaced Chili Davis, but
veering in that direction, I suppose we're going to talk about the Mets. The Mets circus first, because we have the Mets circus, we have the Rangers circus, we've got.
Is any of it really all that interesting? If
the
you're
Aaron Rodgers
outside, the Aaron Rodgers circuit. Let's talk about that.
The Aaron Rodgers circus.
That's by far the most entertaining circuit.
We'll definitely talk about the Aaron Rodgers circus.
Slowly sliding into the play-in tournament Lakers circus.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
circus
activity going on.
There's like 4 or 5 rings right now.
Circi. There's a lot of that going on, but the Mets is a good place to start because
this is
if you thought that.
So the Mets.
There was
let's
a new
recap.
Mets regime coming, and things were going to be finally different.
You were so wrong, my friend.
22 or 23 games.
23 games
into the season.
Before
we reverted to Wilpon land.
So let's think about this for a second. So the Mets are not hitting. They're not hitting at all. They're getting 1 run every 12 or 13 months.
They just need to play the Tigers for 3.
Exactly. But they're not getting any runs. Not hitting, especially with runners in scoring position, just not hitting. Then 3 games in a row, they start smacking the shit out of the ball, and then they fire the hitting coach.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense to me, doesn't it?
Well, it's a
tactic.
It's a kind of a Steinbrenner move.
Oh, sure.
And we're not going to wait.
It's got Steinbrenner and Will Pons.
Steinbrenner didn't even know who the hitting coaches were.
However,
Steinbrenner just fired the manager.
However,
what trickled down from there?
Yeah.
What makes it a Met move is that the explanations that come along.
Oh, they were ridiculous.
And this fictitious Donnie Diesel.
Yeah.
Bad. I mean, this is an absolute.
Are we back to salt on the rim?
This is an absolute.
Donnie Diesel always put salt on the rim.
This is a fucking joke by this club. That there's some shadowy character who is yet to be produced.
I want to know. I want to see Donnie
helping
Diesel. I want to
the
meet
team
Donnie
out.
Diesel. Exactly.
And then this bullshit about the process behind the scenes.
Just a picture.
Not about the result. It's the process. And instead of just going, it wasn't working out, I mean, look, this was. There's so much that's so wrong about this.
Yeah.
If this is about analytics, first of all, I'd like to know
100% about analytics.
Okay,
Chili
but
Davis
what
is not
part,
about analytics.
Okay, what part does analytics play in the hitting coach's job?
I don't.
How
think
does
that
analytics
Sandy
come
Alderson
into
and company care?
Well, no, but I'm saying, how does that fit in? Is that, I mean, we're gonna let the batter know what the analytics tell us the next pitch coming is. So expect that
based on the analytics, expect this is the next pitch.
Right. I mean, they're saying, Chili Davis is an old, he's 61 years old. He's an old school guy. Right. He's not good. But he's not making out the lineup. He's not,
Right.
How does analytics come into this? And if you knew that going into the season, he's not an analytics guy.
Well, get rid of him before the season starts.
Get rid of him before the season.
Absolutely.
I mean, it just seems strange that it's like I don't know, for whatever reason, they didn't get rid of him. They wanted to get rid of him. And they said, well, we can't do it right away. So, let's wait a few games. We'll wait 20 games. And if they're not hitting, then we'll have, we can use him as a scapegoat. Right. And he's gone. But I don't understand how analytics plays into the hitting coach's role.
I don't either.
How does that fit in? I don't get it.
It would have made more sense, and not much more, mind you, but more sense nonetheless, if they did it when they were still not hitting the ball. When they did it, the day that they did it, they just came off of 3 games where they were smacking the ball all over the place. Wins or losses, they were smacking the ball.
Now, when you say the Mets aren't hitting, what you really mean is the Mets aren't scoring. Because the Mets are tied for 9th in the league in hitting.
Okay, scoring.
So
hitting with runners.
Scoring. All we care about is scoring.
Yeah. We looked at the numbers last week, and nobody's hitting.
Nobody's
the league average was 232.
Yeah, I mean, the Red Sox are hitting 265, and they're 7 points ahead of the Angels in that department.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's almost like this was just a foregone conclusion. So kind of leads me to say, okay, well, we know that Pete Alonso, by the way, another aspect of the clown show that this is,
right?
He finds out about it on Twitter,
right?
And and apparently he loves Chili Davis. He said he sat in his locker and cried about it.
Yeah, let me throw a stat at you, which this is mind-boggling to me as for the Mets. There's 3 teams that have not scored 100 runs. Okay, the Nationals have scored 88. The Detroit Tigers have scored 86. Mm-hmm. And guess who the third team is rounding out the last place in runs scored?
That would be the Mets.
76 runs scored.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Absolutely. So, and maybe obviously that has something to do with it, but it's just the timing. It's the timing, right? If they did it, if those 3 games, if Saturday night's game, Sunday's game, and Monday's game, if there were no bats, there were no hitting, there was no situational hitting, there was no hitting with runners in scoring position, they got 1 run here, 2 runs there, no runs in another game, and then they fired him, that's one thing. That's one thing. But they came off their best, one of their best 3-game stretches as far as situational hitting goes, and hitting with runners in scoring position. Right, and that's when they choose to fire.
There's a lot of guys right now who have been coaches for a very long time, who have moved on who have been with teams for a very long time, who are now being moved on because they're quote unquote too old school. So there is something to be said, whether it's analytics or just this situational hitting, in which it's like, okay, we're not going to. Our second best hitter is not good against right-handers on Saturdays who have more than 1 pitch.
Right.
So we're going to take him out of the lineup. That's not a hitting coach. That's that's out of their hands. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
No. You're right. You're right. It's the same way that a lot of these decisions are now out of the manager's hands because the numbers dictate a certain way. But if this was a case where, and let's say for the sake of argument, there are certain players who just don't connect with Chili Davis because he is an old school guy, and they're not old school guys because they're younger players or whatever. They've come up in a different era, obviously. And you want to come out and say, look, we're not hitting. He's just not connecting with players. And, despite the last 3 games, 3 games is not a great sample size to go, everything must be fine because they've been hitting for the last 3 games. Right. Because, it can immediately go south again. But just come out and say that. Don't put up this bullshit about, it's the process behind the scenes. It's not about the results. It's obviously about the results to a certain extent. And if he's not connecting with players, just come out and go, he's not connecting with players.
Right.
And take the hit. The management doesn't want to take a hit on anything here.
No. Sounds like maybe he kind of was connecting with players.
I think he was connecting with some of them, but I mean,
he certainly was connecting with Pete Alonso and Michael Conforto.
Which happened to be their 2 best hitters.
You think? Right.
So, and then of course, you can sort of, again, look, I think that coaches do definitely have an impact. Some more so than others, but when you got a guy like Lindor and you know what Lindor is, and he's a professional hitter and he's been in the league for 7 years, how much, not that the hitting coach can't help him, but how much is the hitting coach really going to help him?
Right.
Is Lindor's slump Chili Davis's fault for not helping him get out of it?
No,
or is it that Lindor is just sucking right now? And,
right.
And
Lindor even said it in his presser. He said that, he says Chili wasn't hitting the ball for him. He'd love to be hitting the ball right now. He's got to work on it. He's got to do this. He's got to do that, whatever. And then, on from there. But, he wasn't saying, he came right out and said, hey, Chili's not hitting the ball for me. That's my fault. That's my fault. That's my problem. I got to do it.
He's not right. He's not batting for him. And again, this whole Donnie Diesel thing. I mean, that is just disgraceful. It's not even, it's not even mildly humorous.
Right.
You're going to make someone up out of whole cloth, and management's going to go along with it and say, oh yeah, this guy was kind of giving us some pointers or tips, and he was helping us in ways that Chili Davis wasn't. I mean, what kind of that's just despicable to treat somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Chili Davis is not some kind of mediocre player. Sort of washed up and hanging on in the game. And yes, okay, he got fired in Chicago. He got fired in Boston. Guys get fired. They change jobs. It happens.
Unless you're getting a promotion, like a higher position or better pay for the same position on another team. Generally, the only way you leave a team is either if you retire or you get fired. So,
right, and lots of times it's not even you getting fired. It's the manager got fired. Right. So
something's going on there because it seems like they're trying to deflect things and make people seem like they're doing something to rattle the cage, even though they're not.
Yeah.
Look, the Mets are 1 game out of first place.
Yep.
It's still disgraceful.
They're kind of playing the exact kind of ball I thought they would be playing, other than the fact that they're not really hitting with runners in scoring position right now. Will that come around? Who knows? But the guys who are hitting are the ones who you thought were going to be hitting. Yes, Lindor is not really living up to his end of the deal right now.
After Sunday, not including this afternoon's game, because obviously last night got rained out, so they made it a doubleheader today, so they get to play 14 innings instead of 18 between 2 days. Lindor, up till the start of today's game, Lindor was on a 0 for 21 streak.
Yeah, 0 for 21.
0 for 21. Yeah. So, what are you going to do?
How many errors has he made at shortstop? How many times has he thrown it over Pete Alonso's head and into right field? How many? Yes, there's plenty of good baseball players not hitting who can't field either.
Right. Well,
but they paid him a lot of money.
Yeah, he's. I mean, that he may have a couple errors, but he's a good.
He's in a slump.
Yeah, he's in a slump just overall. So
I think a lot of hitters are in a slump right now. I think analytics has really helped the pitchers way more than it's helped the hitters. And the pitching's been pretty dominant. Now, yes, there's some games where the scoring is back to what you thought it would be, but there's a lot of low scoring and or shutouts going on right now.
Yeah.
And it's.
And there are, I mean, look at how many no-hitters there been, or the potential have been.
What do we have, 3 now?
Today.
There's 1 today.
There's 3 now, yeah.
Yeah.
3 now, and there was almost one
2 days ago.
2 days ago, yeah. And Jake
and not
DeGrom
just no
came
hitters,
close.
The one today and the one before that.
Yeah, it seems like
perfect games.
Seems like the one and two guys on every team have the ability to really go out and dominate, and then you get to that 3rd, 4th, 5th, and it's a crapshoot.
Right.
And that's when you have the 15-14 slugfest.
Right.
But it's certainly I sort of like the fact that there's a chance you could see a no-hitter or a perfect game or even a complete game. Because, look, the only way anybody's really going to do a complete game nowadays is if they have a chance for a no-hitter or potentially a chance for a shutout in certain cases where you don't have a dominant closer.
Right. Well, or unless you're pitching in a doubleheader. Yeah. Then you can get a complete game with 7 innings. But
I mean, for Nolan Ryan, he would just pitch both games. I mean, Nolan Ryan
would pitch all 18 innings. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't he? Yeah, 14.
Well, no.
Well, now he could. I mean, if it was a 14 in an extra inning game, and it was like 8-7. Right. Sometimes he just pitched the whole game.
Right. Why the hell not?
I don't know. Just the whole thing is very Wilpon-esque. Yes. And it stinks, and I just don't understand why they got to play games. This is a new regime, and we're not supposed to do that. And
I know. It's ridiculous. And like I said, they hired Hugh Quattlebaum and Kevin Howard. Hugh Quattlebaum, he joined the organization this past offseason as the minor league director of hitting development, and he spent time in the last 3 seasons with Seattle.
And how many at-bats does he have at a major league level?
I couldn't tell you.
I think we would have known with a name like Quattlebaum.
I think, yeah. Well,
probably
he had one
remembered.
or 2 at bats in Seattle in 19.
Yeah, he had a cup of coffee with Seattle in '88, and
Exactly.
now he's the Mets hitting coach
Right.
for a team that's not hitting, and it was the hitting coach's fault. So now we're going to bring in this clown, and he might be a perfectly nice gentleman, but what are your qualifications to be a hitting coach?
Well, he was the Mariners minor league hitting coordinator for 2018-2019, and he was the assistant hitting coach with the Mariners, the major league team last year. So then he came to the Mets.
So he was Slater last year for the Mariners.
he was pretty much. And then Howard, Kevin Howard,
from the White Shadow.
Kevin Howard from the White Shadow. Yeah. He joined the Mets this year as the director of player development. Now he's the assistant hitting coach. So
an office job, and now he's an assistant hitting coach.
Yep. So there you go.
So you help that player develop. You go help those guys develop.
Maybe he's Donnie Diesel, and they just didn't want to name him until they.
There's no Donnie Diesel.
Ken Howard.
You know who Donnie Diesel is? The Marlboro Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Marlboro Man is Donnie Diesel.
Kevin Howard actually was from North Arlington, if I recall.
Yeah, we need to let's shift on to something else. This is way too much time allotted to New York Mets hitting coach.
J.D. Davis is on the 10-day DL as of Sunday.
Right.
He's out, and but brings me to injury list. DeGrom will not go on the injury list. He's it's good news. An MRI revealed only inflammation in his right lat. He will refrain from throwing for the next few days, but the Mets will not put him on the IL. So he's going to miss a start, basically.
Mm-hmm. Got lucky there.
Exactly.
Well, you know what?
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Because this is the sort of thing that turns into a month and a half, right? Under the old Mets.
Yeah, under the old Mets, he wouldn't pitch again until July. So
Right. And it would just keep getting worse because they never would tell us what the real story is.
Exactly.
Oh, we're going to keep him off the IL, and then it turns out his arm is broken.
Exactly.
But we don't find that out
till
4 weeks later,
because Donnie Diesel kicked him. No. But in any event, I just want to bring one thing up. I don't know if either of you, both of you, just you, Pete, any of you, watched any of the game on Sunday. Did you see any of that?
Did not.
Hilarity. They're up by what? They're up by 4 runs, and they bring in Diaz, who pitched on Saturday, and you have a 4-game set coming up. Right away. Why are you bringing your closer in? And then he's throwing the first 3 pitches 3 feet out of the strike zone, and yet you leave him in. And then you make a mound visit, and he tells you that he's got tightness in his back. His back is tight, but
And I'm not sure
you leave him in. You leave
did
him
they
in.
know that beforehand or not?
No. Well, according to Diaz, I believe they did, and according to Rojas, they found out when whatchamacallit made a trip to the mound. And,
okay. Because what I read,
but they still left him in though.
He had the tightness, but he wanted to try and work through it. But I wasn't sure if the management was aware of that.
Maybe working through it shouldn't be done on the mound. And
Probably not. No.
Well, you would think if you warm up and you still have tightness in your back, that should be the sign that you're not working through it.
I mean, the Mets relief situation has always been a clown car.
Right.
Yes. But there
was absolutely no reason that Trevor May could not pitch that ninth inning.
No.
He cruised right through the eighth. Yeah, he would have had to come up to bat. Who cares? They had a 4-run lead. Just get through the inning, close out the ninth, go home. It's ridiculous. But, whatever. What are you going to do?
This is analytics.
And Rojas basically said that, once he gave up that almost home run to Therese Hoskins, then he pretty much knew then that tightness wasn't going away. So that's when he pulled him out. So
sure.
Good choice then. Good job.
Yeah, listen. That's always been the proverbial straw for me.
Yeah,
it's when I almost give up a home run.
When I almost lose the game.
Yeah.
When
I almost give up the home run, then I go, guys, I am too old and fat to do this. You got to put somebody in for me. But up until that point, I feel like I've got. I feel
like you can do it, right?
Exactly. I've got this.
Exactly. Right. 25 years of cheeseburgers and milkshakes. I think I can get through the inning. Exactly.
Whatever, man.
Whatever.
The Mets are going to be a mess. They're going to be a mess. Forget it. Forget about a great season. They're going to hang around. They're going to be around. But in the end, they're going to
be relevant. Still relevant in September. But
they'll be relevant. We'll get to see them play exciting games. But unless they go through a serious tank and they decide to replace the manager, who is not the first choice for manager, and who's too young and is going to just do what the front office says. Mm-hmm. But they won't replace them with, no one's the old school managers. They're not coming back.
No, they're not.
They're not coming back because they bucked the system, and
exactly.
We're going to do this by the numbers. So,
speaking of old school, though, congratulations to John Means. I mean, he was one pass ball away from a perfect game today.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. And the other guy last week hit the dude on the toe. Right,
I think
that was his only flaw.
I think Means is going to be one of these guys who quietly is going to battle for the Cy Young this year. He's 4-0 with 1.37 ERA. With a 0.67 WHIP, sixth. I mean, this is one of the reasons why the Orioles are at least where they're at. I think I think he started 5 games and won 4, he started 6 and they've won 5. I don't know, but I watched. They were showing the last inning on ESPN. They cut away to it, and the guy's stuff was still just. He had a lot of movement. He's kind of an old school pitcher. But he's not blowing anybody away with 102 miles an hour. But man, he's got a lot of movement.
He had 12 strikeouts.
You don't have to.
And he never throws anything over the plate. Why? It amazes me how some pitchers, I think it's the movement. I think that some pitchers can get guys to swing out of the strike zone, where others, unless you throw something right down the meat of the plate, they're not going to swing at it. He was. I mean, congratulations. That was. At least it gives the Baltimore Orioles. So the Orioles might be the surprise team so far. I think everybody expected them to be one of the worst teams in the league, and they're in last place, but they're not far off the rest of the pack.
They're a game under 500.
Yeah. Everybody is. Everybody's a game above or a game under. The exception of the Red Sox and the Dodgers.
Yeah. But, well, you know what? Just on those pitcher notes, congratulations to Jacob deGrom, National League Pitcher of the Month for April. And on that note, let's shift over to the Yankees. Congratulations to Garrett Cole, American League Pitcher of the Month for April, too. So,
yeah, I mean, both those guys are the only consistent things either team has. But look, it took the Yankees a while to get warmed up. It took them playing 3 against a miserable Detroit team, and it seems like it carried over. The Mets just give it a little time. I mean, people like Lindor will come around.
He's not going to be batting like this for the whole season. It's not going to. It's just not going to happen.
You just want him to. You want some of that power to come back, and you want some of that timely hitting in his RBIs. Yeah, he started out as an average guy, meaning not average as in an average player, but he hit over. I think he only hit over 300 in his first 2 years in the league, and then his numbers dramatically shifted to way more home runs, way more RBIs, and a much lower batting average. So hopefully he'll come around. I mean, he's facing a whole new group of pitchers to some degree. So sometimes it's harder coming into the National League. You have to face more pitchers more often. Right. So we'll see.
This is true. But hey, you know what? I mean, it looks like that, three-game series against the Tigers did jumpstart them, so.
It did, even though, they had to win 1-2-0. So, right. and look, hopefully it gives some confidence to Corey Kluber. Jordan Montgomery today is just pitched out of a jam, and the Yankees just went ahead in the third. So the Yankees pitching is, if I had to grade it as far as, is it where I expected it to be or better than where I expected it to be? In general, I think it's better than where I think Talon's slightly above where I expected him. Kluber, yeah, of course, we're gauging it on an outing against the Tigers, but still, he went, 8 innings, and, gave up 2 hits. So that's all really promising.
Well, you know what it is? It's Booney. Booney got thrown out of that game.
Well, I think what it is Booney finally listening to people screaming in his ear and saying 3 things that I've been saying forever. Get Sanchez out of there every day. Get Hicks out of the 4th spot and move Stanton around. Now, Stanton's hitting second now for whatever reason.
Hitting almost 300 right now.
And he's clobbering the crap out of the ball. Again, for somebody like Stanton, the 3 games against the Tigers are great. But, yeah, he's really juggled the lineup around, and they're starting to hit the ball.
Sure.
And it's a combination of old school Yankee, get a guy on base, hit a long ball. But, the other game they won, Odor got hurt on the play, but they started playing some small ball. And I think they're
looked worse than it was.
And I think they're motivated to beat the Astros, who are, everybody's favorite villain these days.
Well, they certainly got a welcome reception when they first walked on the field yesterday at Yankee Stadium. So.
Yeah.
That
well, they deserve
some of the signs were actually pretty funny too. They had that blow up garbage can and some other stuff that was pretty good. But anyway,
when the Yankees are winning, the one thing I look at is who's scoring the runs, and when it's the top 2 or 3 guys, usually the top 2 in the lineup that are scoring, they tend to win. Who scored the 2 runs tonight? LeMahieu and Stanton.
There you go.
And Stanton's over 300 now. He's hitting 301. Which when was the last time you saw a 300 next to Gary Stanton's name? I don't know. It was a long time ago, and he certainly was playing where there's palm trees blowing in the wind.
Mm-hmm. Might have been last time we went bowling.
I think so.
He bowled the 301, right?
He bowled the 301, yeah. Because the one pin bounced out and knocked one down in the next lane.
Right.
Yeah.
So he bowled the 301.
Imagine watching Giancarlo Stanton bowl. I feel like he could crush the ball with his hands. Just throw 10 little pieces down there.
Just put it down.
It'd be like the Flintstones. It would go down there and like the pins would smash apart, the ball would crack in half.
Right. Yeah. You gotta love it. Yeah, that would probably be what would happen too. That's good.
Speaking of the Yankees and the Astros, I wanted to pose this question specifically to you, Mr. Nutz, and it's been bandied about. And I thought it was an interesting question for you. Who is the most hated Yankee opponent of the moment? Let's just say right now, is it the Astros, the Rays, or the Red Sox? Which of those 3 teams?
I think it'll always be the Red Sox, no matter what.
Always be the Red Sox.
I think so.
So you don't think even temporarily?
I think the Rays. I think the Rays are hated more in a frustrating way because there's no parity with it.
Right.
But yeah, the reason why I say that is I think the Yankees are not alone in their hatred of Houston,
right?
And Yankee fans. Yeah. But if you're gauging it based on fans' reaction now. I don't think the Red Sox have been to Yankee Stadium yet this year when fans are allowed, right? Because they haven't even played each other yet.
Damn, I don't think they've played each other yet.
No,
June or something.
And Tampa, I don't think has been to Yankee Stadium yet either. So this is the first sign of this. So you might be right. Maybe temporarily it is the Astros. There's a lot of frustration there.
But Boston's got, their own woes or trials and tribulations with cheating. So
yeah,
they're probably going to get an ear filled too. But I don't know if the Boo Birds will be out as much in force for Boston as they are for.
I'm sure they will just for general purpose, but the
right. But I mean,
Boston's cheating not only wasn't as much as at the Astros, or at least was.
I think Brett Gardner's
it didn't as much directly involved or affect the Yankees,
right?
As Astros.
I think Brett Gardner's going to have to remind some of these young kids why they have to hate these other teams, because there's nobody around anymore. I mean, the old rivalry is it seems neutered a little bit just based on what's going on. But sure. Yeah, I think Tampa Bay, Boston, and the Astros, obviously. I think the fans obviously are getting more riled up against Houston. It's the last time they really got knocked out of a World Series hope was when Chapman blew it and Altuve hit that home run. And then lo and behold, right after that, the cheating was revealed. So, yeah.
And also Altuve won the MVP. That should have been Judges. Cheating, Tampa Bay you hate because you can't beat them.
Yeah.
But I would think there's something of a grudging respect there. It's Boston, of course, you always hate because they're just
I hate Altuve whenever he plays the Yankees. However, I think he would look great in pinstripes. It's the same thing I said about Roger Clemens and A-Rod.
Yeah, he looked taller. Yeah,
he would look taller. Would elongate?
Yeah, they have an elongating effect.
I think that'd be great, as if he batted right next to Judge, so they could.
I still remember that All-Star game. That was when they were standing. Yeah, that was.
Put him right between Stanton and Judge for team photos.
All right. Well, let me
like a pyramid stand on.
Look, he's a much better hitter than both of them in clutch situations.
Actually, have Judge down on one knee and have Altuve sitting on his
other than his ex teammate.
Put him up on his shoulders.
Well, but seriously, other than Springer, who's been a more clutch hitter in the postseason in the last 5 years than Altuve?
Sure. Well, anybody can be a clutch hitter when they know what pitch is coming.
Hey, fucking good for them for doing it. Start doing it. Figure out a way to get that leverage.
But yeah, no. I mean, you're right though. He's been clutch. I mean, maybe he wouldn't have been as clutch, but
we'll
6 of one, a dozen of the other. He's still clutch. So, but yeah, what you gonna do anyway? Cool.
I wanted to also bring up. Did you have anything else about the Yankees?
I don't.
Stanton did hit another home run today.
There you go.
So it's
but he's always been streaky, right?
Well, I mean, no, not necessarily. He's either been really good or really bad. I mean,
yeah, that's streaky.
Well, for a whole season. I mean, didn't he win the MVP?
The inventor of the word streaky, rest comfortably.
Okay, so he's up and down. He hasn't been streaky to me. Is when you go through a slump and then you wind. Then all of a sudden you go on a tear. I haven't seen Stanton really go on a tear since he's been a Yankee.
Yeah,
that's a little bit more on the extreme side for you is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what I wanted to bring up was Genesis Cabrera and the 3-batter rule, another example of stupidity, where he's out unable to control his pitches occasionally. And that whole situation, hitting Bryce Harper in the face and then hitting whoever else he hit, I forget who the next batter was, and not getting thrown out of the game. And everybody, except apparently the rules of Major League Baseball and the umpire, saying this guy needs to get the hell out of there. He's a danger to himself and our players. Will they change this rule? Or will they just kind of go,
Did they call it the wild thing rule?
It should be. It should be. Well, or will they just go, that was an unusual situation?
Well, I think the rules really state that the umpire's discretion, right? So the
umpire has complete discretion. So,
and it's really the rule for what the umpire is supposed to base it on is if intent was there. We forget that back in the day there used to be a lot more hit by pitches. guys would come in and, get plunked. All right, we're good. In the next inning, there'd be 3, 4, or 5 back and forths before anybody started to get thrown out. Nowadays, it's a complete warning if anybody gets up. So I think it was the umpire's discretion. But yeah, he's not very accurate.
Well, yeah, but doesn't he have?
And I think he'd still be a fifth starter on the Yankees.
That was Joe Girardi's point.
Right.
That he was saying, well, whether it was intentional or not, he's hitting guys. You can't let him stay out there. But because of this rule, I guess he was maybe perhaps a little more reluctant to take him out. But yeah, for once, like an umpire not making himself part of the game, and again, who was? I guess he was Cabrera was abjectly apologetic on the mound, and he wasn't really trying to hit those guys, I guess. But I don't know. You kind of have to get rid of them, right?
It's happened.
Whether you're trying to hit them or not, you kind of have to throw them out.
I remember games where it might have not have been so consecutively, but I remember guys pitching 5, 6, 7 innings and hitting 3 or 4 guys. I mean, it's part of the it's part of the reality, I think.
Was this major leagues or in rec ball?
No, this was major league.
It was slow pitch softball.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about Nolan Ryan a lot. How many times do you remember Nolan Ryan just plunking a few guys?
Well, yeah, but that was a different era.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you complain about Chili Davis getting fired, but I can't bring up Nolan Ryan.
Right, yeah.
Nolan Ryan's pitches were far more dangerous than this guy's.
The 3-batter rule, as we know, all of these. I mean, you want to call it like some of the rules with safety, with the pandemic and everything. The 3-batter rule is nothing more than a way to speed up the game. That's all. It's purely just okay, we want to here's one way. In addition to the pointing to first
he misunderstood it. He thought he had to go in there, and whatever he did to the first batter, he had to do the next
second and the third. Right?
He misunderstood it. It was just a misunderstanding of the
communication. Rule. It was just
they told him get in there and get these guys out.
That's right. Yeah. You got
out of the batter's box and onto the field.
You got to face 3 pitchers, and then we want to get you out, or 3 hitters, then we want to get you out of there. So we figured, well, this is the quickest way to
get it out. Yeah, just throw 3 balls at them. I'm done.
Who was it?
Take a shower and have a beer.
Who was it that said, "Why do with something with 4 pitches you can do with 1?"
Right. Exactly.
Right.
I don't know. It's just again, to me, it's just kind of
it's time saving. That's what he was doing. He was saving time. He was going to walk him anyway. What the hell?
Yeah, I don't need to. Well, but you don't have to intentionally, right? You don't even have to throw pitches.
Well, he wasn't getting the intentional walk.
He's like, I want these guys.
He was intentionally walking them the quickest way. It was his decision. Right?
I'm not giving it up an intentional.
The automatic intentional walk now takes away from the opportunity to swing at a pitch where a pitcher gets too close.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But I get it. That rule, I don't mind.
I don't mind that one. The 3 batters facing 3 batters. You know what?
I don't like it.
I don't.
It seems.
I don't care about speeding up the game.
I don't either. And you know what?
I'm not going anywhere.
If somebody's not going to watch the game because it's 3.5 hours long, they're not going to watch it if it's 3 hours long either.
Yeah.
And
it's also. I mean, it's also
unless you get the game down to 25 minutes, you're not doing anything with that.
It's also anti-analytics, right?
Sure.
Because
your analytics tell you, okay, let's bring the lefty in to face the lefty, and then we'll get him out and put the righty back in. And
right.
Yeah.
Which
you can't do that.
Dude, I would be interested to see. Let's go back 10 years and let's look at relievers, lefty on lefty matchup versus lefty on righty, because we're all old enough to remember when you brought in a reliever and he pitched to anybody. Well, it doesn't matter what side of the plate they were on, right? I would be interested to see if there was really that much of an increase in hits or in the outs, however you want to look at it, based on the matchup.
I don't think there is as much anymore because nobody's really throwing breaking pitches anymore. I mean, and maybe it flipped the other way around because the only people who ever got hits against Mariano Rivera were right-handers because he threw that cutter, which was just devastating to left-handed hitters. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's still something there, or else there wouldn't be switch hitters, right?
Supposedly
it's just the way in which you see the ball,
right? And supposedly it was about the inside pitch. If you have a righty thrown to a lefty, it's harder to, even if you're hitting the inside, the pitch is moving across the plate instead of straight down, Right. But I mean, does it really make that much of a difference? I would be interested to see because that whole kind of trend might have been born out of next to nothing.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean there is.
I'm sure there's
true.
some evidence that it makes a difference, but just how much. But anyway, now it's kind of
if there wasn't evidence to it, then a guy who hits 323 from one side of the plate and 283 from the other side of the plate wouldn't be a switch hitter.
Right. That's true.
It's true. So, on that note, should we do our top 10?
Top 10. Giving you a little extra, as always.
As always.
Is this the longest top 10 list?
This is the longest. It's tied. It's tied.
Oh, okay.
It's tied.
So what is the official number? Is it 16? 15? 15, okay.
15 right there. This week's top 10 is our top 10 first basemen in Major League Baseball history. If you check your private chats, I sent you them because I do remember I didn't send it to you before.
I see that. I see the use of the private chat.
See the use of the private chat.
And for the first time in podcast history, I had it set on comments.
You had it set
All right.
I wouldn't have known if it was that was there if you hadn't told me.
There you go. So, in any event, top 10 first baseman in Major League Baseball history. Folks, we have 15 of our top 10. In fact, everybody that the three of us have picked some different players, obviously, and all 15 of them made the top 10. In fact, we don't even have a top 10, folks. We have a top 9 because our lowest voted top 10s or all tied. 4 of the lowest ones were all tied for 9th.
So nobody had 0 points.
Nobody had 0 points.
We did not name a single player that got in our individual list that had 0 points.
Right. If we did, we would have had more than 15. So
well, let me ask you guys this, because this to me, this was a strange category. And look, we all have our own methods and methodologies of choosing, right?
Sure.
And I know that based in part on some of the lists that you've made, Harry, I have made a more conscious effort to look at some of the old school, earlier era players who normally I
would overlook or
would sort of discount or whatever.
Sure.
I had a bunch of them on there, obviously.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
But the guy who hit 315 in 1922. Yeah, great.
There's something of a discount there. But my point about this list is, if you're really depending on how your criteria was set up, there could have been
30
easily 4 or 5 guys on this list who kind of came from a lot of the earlier eras,
and a couple guys who may be
people that are already on it,
and a couple guys who might be playing right now who might be on here. Eventually.
So this was like a list where I went, man, I can't really put 4 guys who all played before 1930 on this list.
Well,
but they were all kind of worthy of it.
I had the same thought process, and there was a couple guys that I left off of mine who were very close and were on the bubble, who were more older players, because I didn't want to discredit, let's just say, more modern era players that I think are never thought of. And 2 of mine made this list. Obviously, all of ours made this list. But the 2 guys that I was pretty definitive that I think should have been on there, I think deserve to be on there, and probably did it at a time when the competition was a little broader and better. So they might not. The stats were close. They were equal, and I went with these guys because I just feel like a lot of these lists and a lot of these ranking top 10s, top 20s, whatever the case might be, a lot of times they defer to the much older players.
Right.
And so, and there was a couple of guys that I think, and I didn't expect them to really make the final list, but there's a couple of guys that I know from watching them a lot, one of them in person and the other one a lot just because I followed his team towards the end of his career. We're one of the best that ever played the game. And I think a lot of times for position players, we go off of home runs and RBIs as opposed to, just batting average and hits. And first base is one of those where I think being able to play the field is a big part of that. There's a couple guys on here who were either outfielders or DHs or part-time first basemen who I didn't put on the list because to me, they weren't first basemen. for the majority of their career.
Yeah.
You know, once you get to the major leagues, the kid who played left field becomes the first baseman.
Right.
Right.
Although it's funny because in Little League,
right field.
the worst fielder in right field.
Right field. That's what I meant.
Right field. Yeah.
Well, no. See, I always thought like in the pros, you put the worst outfielder in left field.
Yeah, you
to
do
me,
now.
always. So right, you do now. But
That's because there's more. That's because there's more pull hitters and righties when you're playing Little League, and the ball never goes to right field.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. So you hire. But yeah, this was a very. I mean, I found myself more than probably any other list comparing numbers and going, well, this, and not just home runs, but on base and up, I mean, this and RBI. This guy had 30 more RBIs, but this guy had
and I didn't have one of the guys who's made our list. I didn't have as a first baseman because I thought we were going to do DHs, and he would be number one probably on my DH list.
True.
And that's David Ortiz. So I'm gonna tell you right away that he wasn't on my list because I don't really consider him a first baseman.
Yeah, I think I felt the same way.
So, but
I don't think I had him on my list.
And then
it's also the place, right? Because where he is on this first baseman's top 10,
I guess you
and
could
where
be
he will
involved.
be on the DH top 10,
right?
So.
Yeah, big difference.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
all right, sorry. To me, this list was not harder to make than others, but there's certainly. I was like, man, this guy and this guy and this guy were all, there are no photos of them.
Yeah, exactly.
They could have all been, higher on this list or on this list.
Yeah. Like I had Eddie Murray, for instance. I mean, we'll go through the names, but I had Eddie Murray on my list until I had 12 and I had to bump 2 off.
Right.
And I just kind of looked at the numbers and I said, you know what? I love Eddie Murray. I was like my favorite guy that didn't play for the Yankees for many years.
Right.
But he's great, but he just wasn't in my top 10 based on how I analyzed it. And I think he also benefits a little bit from playing in the 70s and 80s, whereas some of the guys who played in the 90s and 2000s, some of them get, I think, a little bit overrated, and then there's a bunch of them that disappear and never get talked about.
Right.
So
right.
I got you. So, all right. So let's go through them. All right. Like I said, we have 15, and there is actually no number 10. And we have a 4-way tie for number 9. Number 9D is Jim Thome, or Thome, whatever you want to call him.
Who was a guy who played in current times, but looks like he played in 1946.
He does look like he played in 1946.
Yeah.
James
He
Howard
was
Thome.
actually born in 1939.
That's
and
right.
Began his professional career at the age of 8.
Yes.
Exactly.
He was just such a big kid. They thought he was.
And I'm going to make all of us feel great. He's actually younger than the three of us.
I know.
But in any event, he played for the Indians, the Phillies, the White Sox, the Dodgers, the Twins, and the Orioles. Indians and Phillies came back around again to them. But, 5-time All-Star, member of the Baseball Hall of Fame, just crazy numbers. And he's only our 9D. So there you go. Jim Thome.
Yeah.
Move on to, I didn't put it up. There you go. Jim Thome.
How do we,
no pictures today?
No pictures.
How do we
do pictures? Just
how do we do the letters? Is that by, what's the criteria for 9A?
Wherever they fell on the list as I was writing them, I didn't give a criteria.
Alphabetical order.
I didn't know if it was alphabetical or maybe
John's alphabetical
It's
order.
not even. It's even my alphabet.
Vowels come after K, and then back to alphabetical order.
Well, maybe we should who would lose? Who's the fastest runner amongst the 9s? Should be 9A, or
that would definitely be the next person on this list because the other three could not run in their prime.
Yeah. Who looked the best in a tuxedo?
Again, the next guy on this
list.
We'll
have to go with 9C. 9C would be Todd Helton. There we go. Todd Helton. Todd Lynn Helton is his name. Plays his entire career for the Rockies. Again, he's also a 5-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove Award winner, batting champion in 2000, RBI leader in 2000, and his number 17 is retired by the Rockies, as is their will to win this year. But that's besides the point.
Yeah. Probably the best Rocky of all time.
Yeah.
And everybody made a big stink about hitting in Colorado in the thin air and all that.
He played half his games everywhere else, and his average was actually higher on the road for half the season.
That's right. People don't know that. And I don't think it had that Well, I mean, you're there. You would know, but it has an effect, but not that much of an effect.
No.
Right.
And he was just, I mean, good for so long.
Oh, God. Over 2,500 hits, almost 400 home runs, 1,400 runs batted in. And I'll tell you what, excellent defensive first baseman.
First baseman.
And I'll tell you, I think if he played on the Mets or played on the Yankees or played on the Dodgers, I think he'd be a 7-8-time All-Star and probably a 5-time Gold Glove winner. And, you know,
if he played half his games in Yankee Stadium.
Oh God! What
would his home run numbers be?
Home run, because I mean, Coors Field is a big ballpark.
Yeah,
and so and for obvious reasons, but I mean, right field's is sort of a shorter porch in Coors Field too. But yeah, he was one of those guys who could definitely pull the ball, and but so good for so long. Finally made it to the World Series, and fucking Red Sox.
There you go. Yep.
Speaking of Red Sox.
Speaking of Red Sox, let's go to number 9B.
Not only did he come out on the short end of the World Series there, he came out on the short end of our list as well.
Yeah, and a guy who I don't think I ever saw him run in his playing career. Just trot around the bases after hitting the most clutch home runs in the history of the postseason play.
Exactly, and that would be Mr. David Americo Ortiz Arias. David Ortiz, folks, Big Papi, played his. He was drafted by the Twins, actually. And played the Twins for 6 years.
Yeah, he did. Played first base.
Played first base. Then they came to Beantown and played the rest of his career for the Red Sox. All of his numbers are from the Sox. A 10-time All-Star. 3-time World Series champ, as World Series MVP in the last one. He won in 2013. ACLS MVP in 2004. And I think, Harry, you remember that American League Championship Series, right?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember 07. 07 was an interesting year for
Sure.
I remember the Rockies playing in the snow in the postseason.
There you go.
I'll say this about David Ortiz. In the Nintendo 64 version of Major League Baseball 2000, if you are an American League team, I like to play the game with a draft, so you draft your team. He is the last DH taken.
I don't know why.
Really?
I don't know. And this is the 2000 version of the game.
I don't remember another other than Reggie Jackson, who had some really epic postseasons. I think David Ortiz is the most clutch postseason hitter I've ever witnessed. I mean, he was just that good for 3 championships for the Red Sox. Number one, he was on the first team to bring them a championship since whatever the hell it was.
1918.
And then he won 2 more with them. I mean, other than Tom Brady, I think he's probably more beloved than Pedro or, in
Big
Boston.
Papi more than Pedro? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Nomar left before they won a championship. Nomar.
Yep.
David Ortiz is just he's beloved, and rightfully so. He's kind of like the Charles Barkley of baseball.
Apparently there are some Japanese game designers who don't care for him much.
Apparently not.
And he didn't fit into their algorithm.
I think because he doesn't fit into the clothing that they,
which is good for me because he would always end up on my team because I would just wait. I knew
way too big.
I knew he was going to be there.
That inside out swing where he would just line it down the left field line. I'm just like, he always had a chance of throwing him out at second base. That was the only positive to it.
Or first base on a sharp liner to right field.
Yeah,
exactly. You could scoop it and come up throwing. You could put him out.
There you go. That would be David Ortiz. Let's move on to 9. We haven't even gotten out of the 9s yet. So let's get out of the 9s.
Go a little quicker.
Let's move on to Harmon Killebrew.
Another Minnesota Twin.
Another Minnesota Twin. The Killer, or Hammer and Harmon. He played
the original Jim Thome.
Yeah, the original Jim Thome. Yeah, really. He played his entire career for the Twins. Of course, he started when they were the Washington Senators, before they were the Twins. Actually finished up his career 1 year with the Royals, but his career was pretty much done at that point. But 13-time All-Star, AL MVP in 1969, 6-time home run leader, 3-time RBI leader, His number 3 is retired by the Twins. He's in the of course he's in Cooperstown. But just his numbers are right up there with any of these guys that are in the nine.
This is a name that you hear it, and unless you do a little bit of a deeper dive, you don't realize how incredible his numbers were. And I've read stories about him like throwing guys out from sitting on the infield, fielding the ball, and throwing guys out from a sitting position.
Because he was tired.
He was a little tired. Yeah,
I think Bobby tried that too.
But yeah, you hear the name and you go, "Oh yeah, he was one of those old school, really good players." No, he was really good. So,
I was out at Target Field in Minnesota a couple years ago, and there's two statues.
Kirby
and Harmon. Yep. Yeah. Those are the two statues at Target Field. So, Harmon Clayton Killebrew Jr. And there you go. So, all right.
And Prince.
And what?
And Prince, probably.
And Prince, yeah.
Who probably would have been a fantastic first baseman.
Would have been a great first baseman, absolutely.
Would have played in those high heels.
Well, according to Chappelle, he was more of a baller than a
basketball player. But I'm sure he would have been fine.
Absolutely. Found an amazing painting on the side of a building in like just a middle of nowhere in Minneapolis of Prince. It's pretty cool.
He used to do that. He used to go out and paint the side of buildings
himself, his own.
He used to paint portraits of Harmon Killebrew.
Yeah, he painted Harmon Killebrew. Right?
Everybody thought it was Banksy, but no,
nope, not it. It was Hammer and Harmon. Right. Absolutely. All right, so that brings us to the eights. Let's start with the eights. 8C is Mr. Jeff Bagwell, Jeffrey Robert Bagwell. Played his entire career with the Astros, 4-time All-Star, NL MVP in 94, back when the Astros were in the National League. National League Rookie of the Year in 91. Won a Gold Glove Award. 3 times he won a Silver Slugger Award. And he's in the Hall of Fame as well.
How he was only a 4-time All-Star blows my mind. But again, smaller market guy, didn't get on TV a lot, but every year was just fantastic.
Yeah.
He also had a pretty long career, if my memory serves me correct.
Yeah, 15 years.
Yeah.
15 years. He played 15 years. 91 through 05 for the Astros, all for the Astros. Bags was great. You're right. A smaller market. That's what it was. It wasn't
just didn't get the exposure.
And then not like the Astros are getting exposure now.
And imagine if he was stealing signs.
Oh, right.
He would have hit 345 every year.
Exactly. Yeah, he finished his career with just shy of 300 was his career batting average. So
yeah.
All right, that was Jeff Bagwell. Move on to 8B. 8B is Mr. Rod Carew. Rodney Klein Carew. Interesting story. How he got his name, by the way?
From his parents.
What?
From his parents?
His dad's last name is Carew.
His dad's last name was Carew. Very good. Yes, he got the last name from his father. Yes, but he got his Rodney Klein. His first middle name was actually the name of the doctor that delivered him.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, he was born on a train. So, and the doctor was on the train. And,
he was always moving.
He was always moving. But
good thing his name wasn't Thomas.
There you go.
Thomas the Tank Engine Carew.
Exactly. Thomas the Tank Engine.
Or Knuckles.
That would have been Knuckles Carew. A doctor, an obstetrician with the nickname Knuckles. I don't know about that.
At least he wasn't a gynecologist.
Well, can you imagine it just running through the train going, is there an obstetrician on the...
Dr. Knuckles.
Knuckles Timpson.
Dr. Knuckles Deep, please report to gynecology.
You had to go there. Anyway,
I can help you.
There you go. He started his career with the Twins. He played 12 years with the Twins, and then finished up with the Angels. Played 7 years for the Angels. His career batting average 328. I mean,
I don't know of a better hitter that I've ever seen. Maybe Kirby Puckett.
Maybe.
I think whenever he really wanted to get a hit, he just got a hit. He was unbelievable. And a pretty good fielder too. Good,
definitely.
And he made it into the Hanukkah song.
He did.
He made it into the Hanukkah song. Yep.
Yeah.
And there's still skepticism about whether he actually did fully convert to Judaism or not. But either way, Adam Sandler did place him in that song.
Switch hitter, right, Raccoon?
I believe so. Yes. Well, he batted left, but I think
Lefty. That's right.
He's a lefty. Yeah, he batted left. He
But
batted
it's
left
such
and
a-
threw right. That's how. There you go. So he switched things. But
He was ambidextrous.
he was ambidextrous. There you go. So, all right, number 8B, Rodney Klein Carew. Let's move on to 8A. 8A is Johnny Mize. Johnny Mize, the Big John, if you will, or the Big Cat. He played for the Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals, for 5 years. Then he went to the New York Giants and finished up his career with the Yankees. Won 5 consecutive World Series with the Yankees, 49 through 53. And that's when he finished his career. And every year he was on the Yankees, he won the World Series. And then he retired. There you go.
And yet he didn't make our all Yankees team.
And yet he still didn't make our All Yankees team.
Well, they kind of carried him.
Yeah.
Those teams
He was a
kinda carried him.
systems first
He
baseman.
was assistant first base.
Yeah, this is one of those names you hear and you go, Mize. Yeah, I've heard that name. He was good.
Sure.
But again, do a deep dive into the numbers and make your eyes pop.
Exactly. Yeah. John Robert Mize, number 8A. All right, we'll move
Great
on.
name, too.
John Robert Mize.
Johnny Mize. That
Johnny
could be-
Mize.
Not to be
he could
confused with Johnny Mizell.
Johnny
He could be a
Mize.
stock car driver or, some sort of a famous movie actor or something. That's a great
Or
job.
both. Or both.
Drug dealer.
Drug dealer. But no.
The
Johnny
king
Mize.
of cocaine, ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Mize.
Yeah, go see Johnny Mize. He'll take care of you.
Yeah. All right, that brings us to number 7B. 7B is going to be Eddie Murray. We
Eddie
mentioned it
Murphy,
before.
all
Eddie
right.
Murphy, not Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murray. Eddie Clarence Murray. Steady Eddie. Played for the Orioles, the Dodgers, the Metsies, the Indians, the Orioles again. Then he played for the Angels and finished back up with the Dodgers, both in the same year. Retired in 97. 8-time All-Star, World Series champion in 83 with the O's. AL Rookie of the Year in 77, 3-time Gold Glove Award winner, and 3-time Silver Slugger Award. And 2 of the 3 years he won the Gold Glove, he won the Silver Slugger. So, I mean, you could tell right there. His numbers were crazy as far as defense and offense.
15-time least favorite by the writers award.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
They didn't like him.
They
And apparently
did
he didn't like them either.
Not so much.
His middle name was also based on who birthed him. It was Clarence the Clown. Yeah,
Clarence the Clown.
That's right.
Is that right?
He was born at the circus.
Factoid you weren't aware of.
He was
But
born at the circus.
which ring?
I don't know. But
Or was it in the back?
It was right before the elephants came out. He was lucky.
There you go. Anyway, he'll be happy to know that.
See, if we didn't have 15 on this
Told
list,
everybody
you wouldn't have learned that.
We would not have known that. Exactly, would not have. So anyway,
Right now
Eddie
they're-
Clarence Murray
People go,
Steady
did you know
Eddie.
Murray was named after a clown?
was not aware of that. I did not know that.
I didn't know that. Great hitter.
Great hitter. 3,255 hits, 504 home runs, almost 2,000 RBIs, just shy of 300 career batting average as well, 287. There you go. 7B, Eddie Murray. Let's move on to 7A, Mr. Willie McCovey. Willie Lee McCovey. Stretch, Mac, and Willie Mac. He played for the Giants for, 14 years, 15
39 years.
Yeah. And
He's still playing for them.
He's still playing for him. He played. He went to the Padres for a few years, bounced back to the Oakland A's, and then he came home to the Giants for another 4 years. Retired in '80s. He played from 1959 to 1980. Unbelievable. And anybody obviously watching now, you can see watching any Giants games now. Obviously, when they hit a home run out into the water, where does it get hit to?
McCovey Cove.
McCovey Cove.
McCovey Cove.
One or the other.
McCovey Cove.
Well, that's what the drunks in the boats
McCovey
call it.
Cove.
McCovey Cove.
I'm going to be out of McCovey Cove waiting for a home run ball.
McCovey Cove.
All right.
My coffee cup. Did you say?
I'll see you after the game.
He hit the ball.
Where's my Uber? Pick me up at McCovey Cove.
He hit the ball in my coffee cup. McCovey Cove, yes. His numbers, 6-time All-Star, NL MVP, Rookie of the Year, 3-time home run leader, 2-time NL RBI leader. San Francisco Giants retired his number, of course, and he's obviously in Cooperstown. over 500 home runs, over 1,500 RBIs, over 2,200 hits. Little lower batting average than the other guys, but you got to remember that's over the course of the 97 years that he played for, so that'll take its toll as well. So
but think about the efficiency of the RBIs and to sort of the RBI to hit, sure. RBIs to hits. What's the word I'm looking for?
Ratio.
Thank you very much.
Ratio. Good brewery out in Denver.
Yes
it is.
But their hops to water ratio.
The RBIs to hits brewery.
The RBIs, no, the ratio brewing.
The ratio brewery. Okay.
Yeah, it's a brewery out in Denver. Anyway, yeah, he's great dead pull line drive hitter. Just like probably one of the originators of having teams having to do a shift, But in any event, he definitely made our list at number 7A. Willie McCovey. Let's move on. Now we got to the top 6. Now we're out of the ties. So we got a straight 6 right here. Number 6 is going to be Mr. Miguel Cabrera. Jose Miguel Cabrera Torres is his name. Miggy, as he's known affectionately to his friends. This is the first member of our list that is actually still playing baseball. Played with the Marlins for 4 years, and he's been on the Tigers since 2008. 11-time All-Star. World Series champion in 2003 with the Marlins. Two-time, sorry about that, Harry. Two-time AL MVP, AL Triple Crown in 2012. 7-time Silver Slugger Award, 2-time Hank Aaron Award, 4-time batting champion, 2-time home run leader. I can go on and on. Miggy's just.
I think he's kind of doing his farewell tour this year, wouldn't you say?
It would seem that way. It would seem that way, especially the state of the Tigers right now.
This season, I don't think is going to help his career numbers very well.
Probably not. No. So,
yeah, toiling away in a pretty horrible.
If he can hit another 11 home runs, he'll make 500. So.
That's why he's still around.
Yeah, he's still around. Wants to hit that 500 mark. So there you go. 2,800 hits. Maybe he can even. He's not going to hit. Well, yeah, 128 more hits. Can he get 128 hits this year?
No.
With the Tigers now. No.
Well, I don't know. I think he could.
If he plays every day, maybe.
But you know what? They don't really have to pitch to him.
This is true.
They can pitch to anybody else.
They pitch to him.
They do, yeah. 1,734 RBIs. Yeah, his numbers will be higher than that, but I think you're right, Harry. I think this is his farewell tour. He's 38. Maybe he can sticks around for another year and pulls up those numbers a little bit. But I think he's going to Hall of Fame. I don't think there's any doubt there. He will wind up in Cooperstown.
He's a Hall of Famer.
There you go. Number 6, Miguel Cabrera. All right, move on to number 5. Number 5, we're going back to Hank Greenberg. Hank Greenberg, he played for the Tigers also in the 30s and 40s, and he finished up his career in 1 year with the Pirates. 5-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion with the Tigers, 2-time AL MVP, 4-time home run leader, 4-time RBI leader. His number 5 is retired by the Tigers, and, of course, this gentleman is in Cooperstown. Henry Benjamin Greenberg. He was born Hyman Greenberg, actually. Hammer and Hank.
Hammer and Hyman.
Hankus Pankus and the Hebrew Hammer.
Hankus Pankus and the Hebrew Hammer. Wow.
Hankus Pankus and the Hebrew Hammer.
Usually you have to be up late in a hotel on demand to hear those names.
Hankus Pankus and the Hebrew Hammer. Exactly. And
yeah, Hankus Pankus, that's a hit on your credit card right there.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And apparently he was the original Hammer and Hank. Since if that was the nickname, it was prior to the Hammer and Hank everyone knows. So anyway, yes, great player for the Tigers. Just Hammer and Hank. Hankus Pankus. The Hebrew Hammer.
Hankus Pankus.
Hankus Pankus.
There you go. All right, folks.
It's not a movie with Bette Midler?
I think it was, actually.
This was a Marx Brothers movie, wasn't it?
That's right.
That too.
I think she was in it with them.
Bette Midler was in the Marx Brothers movie.
Bette Midler and the Marx Brothers. Hankus Pankus.
Hankus
Pankus, starring Bette Midler and the Marx Brothers.
Oh my God!
Starring the Hammer
Hebrew
Hammer.
The
Hammer and Hyman.
Hammer and Hyman.
Hammer and Hyman's in this? I haven't seen him in a while.
Hammer and Hyman is a completely different movie, so don't go there.
That's right.
All right.
He was in Hankus Bank.
Exactly.
Hammer and Hyman.
So number 5, the Hebrew Hammer. Henry Benjamin Greenberg. There we go. All right, let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is none other than Mr. Stan Musial. Stanley Frank Musial.
He was pretty good.
He was born Stanislaw František Musial. That's how you pronounce it, I'm guessing.
That sounds about right.
If they didn't change his name, he would have to become some sort of Soviet leader. So they shortened it so he could play baseball.
Stan the Man. Stan the Man. Not as good as Hankus Pankus, but Stan the Man we will... No, the nickname, not the player. The player was the nickname we were talking about. 24-time All-Star. 24 times.
And he only played 23 seasons.
He played 22 seasons. No. He played from 1941 to 1963. Folks, that is 23 seasons.
That's crazy.
And he skipped one, and he was a 24-time All-Star. So, I'm just kidding. It's, yeah. I'm not sure how that worked, but...
Math was not,
math was not a big skill back then.
There was only 2 or 3 guys that knew math.
Let's figure it out. It says he's an all-star in 43, in 44, and then 1946 through 63. So 46, 56, 66 would be 20, would be 21, minus 3, 18, 19, 20. That's 20 years, not 24. So I guess he was nominated 4 extra times.
Hey, he was that good.
He was that good. 4 years after he retired, he continued to be an all-star.
That's right.
So, but either way, 20 years is a big thing. 20 years. He basically was an all-star basically every year he played baseball.
Yeah, there was nobody else being an all-star for first base.
No, absolutely not.
Not. I guess there was one other.
3-time World Series champion in 42, 44, and 46 with the Cards. Obviously, played his entire career for the Cards.
Yeah. He's a pretty good left fielder too. As well as being a good first baseman.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
I think he had more games at left field than at first base. But
let's see.
I'm not. Don't hold me to that because that could be completely made up. But I don't know.
He played 3,026 games, but I don't see a breakdown of which he played in.
Yeah, I thought I had come up with it the other day, but I don't know. Anyway, he was good no matter where he was playing.
He was good. He was playing, he was
good.
When he played, he was the best player on the team.
They wrote a Broadway play about him, Stan Musial, the musical, and
I thought it was just Stan Musical.
Stan Musical.
Stan the Musial.
Stan Musial, the musical. That would have been interesting.
Would have been good. It ran from 1980 to 2000, 24 years on Broadway.
Well, according to some people, that is 24 years. So, in any event, number 4 would be Stanley Frank Musial. There we go. All right, let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is also still playing in the game today, Mr. Albert Pujols. Jose Albert Pujols Alcantara. There you go. And I got to tell you this: the phonetic spelling of Pujols. All right, Pooholes.
Pujols. Again. Yeah.
I love this.
What was it? Hocus Pocus, Hankus Pankus, and Pujols.
Hey, Albert Pujols. Guess what your nickname is now?
Hankus Pankus.
Hankus Pankus, exactly.
Albert Hankus Pankus Pujols.
Well, Pujols, he's just a great player. I mean, he played on the Cards for 12 years, now 11 years, 12 years. And he's been playing for the last 10 on the Angels,
Has it been 10 years? Wow, that's crazy.
Years, yeah, 20. This is his 10th year.
According to his wife, this will be his last.
According to his wife, he's done after this year. No more baseball for you, sir.
Nope, they got a Winnebago. They're going to go see. They're going to go around. They want to see the Grand Canyon and summer.
He's playing in his 21st season. He's a 26-time All-Star. No, I'm kidding. 10-time All-Star. That didn't go over as well with you guys. Jeez.
No.
Is this thing on? All right.
It's on.
It's on.
We heard you.
10-time All-Star. 2-time World Series champion. One of those he should not have been a World Series champion, but I won't dive into that right now. 3-time NL MVP, not because of his play, mind you, but in any event. Rookie of the Year in 2001. NLCS MVP in 2004. 2-time Gold Glove. 5-time Fielding Bible Award. Have you ever heard of that?
I have one of those.
They have a Fielding Bible Award.
It's hard to catch a grounder with the Bible.
Right. Fielding.
Does he like? Does that mean he? Like,
I'm not sure that means what you think it means.
he's in the field and somebody gets a single and he throws a couple psalms on him as they come down the line.
You have to play at least 1/3 of all innings with a Bible in your hand.
Exactly. So, well,
put your foot on first.
Well, no,
and your hand on the Bible.
In the off season, he was a Bible salesman, a traveling Bible salesman,
yeah,
and he sold more than anybody year after year.
Well,
there you go.
If Albert Pujols comes to your house and knocks on your door and wants to sell you a Bible, you're probably going to buy one.
if you autographed it, I'd buy it.
A Fielding Bible Award recognizes the best defensive player for each fielding position in Major League Baseball, based on statistical analysis. John Doohan and Baseball Info Solutions conduct the annual selection process, which commenced in 2006.
Yeah, so it's some sort of, because whatever Gold Gloves were announced, we need to have Fielding
we need to have
Bible.
a Fielding Bible Award. There you go.
Right, ever.
Does Jesus give those away?
No.
Jesus.
I'm saying he presents the award.
He does every year. It's right after the ESPYs at a.
It's a special ESPY Awards in Bethlehem,
It is.
Pennsylvania.
It's actually at an Applebee's in Glendale, California. But,
Is that right?
Yeah.
They have a big back room. They set it up. It's nice.
They make it look like a farm.
Exactly.
In Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Everybody runs through a giant Bible and then gets caught by a glove.
You get called up to the manger and you're presented your award.
That's right.
Exactly. So
the manger's made of a giant catcher's mitt.
with pages in it that you can actually read.
No, sure, why not?
All right. So anyway, Albert Pujols. What can you say about him, though? Seriously, just a very dominant first baseman, and obviously DH now, but
and a hell of a Bible salesman.
Apparently he was. There you go. Yeah. Number 3.
Yeah, his numbers are down the last couple of years, but he also had just an incredible stretch of greatness. That is not completely unrivaled or unprecedented, but pretty darn close.
This is true. And actually, like that game I mentioned before that I was at Target Field in Minneapolis a couple of years ago, the Twins were actually playing the Angels. I got to watch the gentleman play. So
there you go.
All right, number 3, Albert Pujols. All right, let's move on to number two, Jimmy Fox. Red's brother.
No. 2 X's, by the way.
2 X's, yes. James Emery Fox.
Kind of like the 80s band, The Fix.
Fix, yeah. Double X or The Beast. Those were
The Beast.
The Beast. Yep.
He was pretty good.
He was. He played for the Philadelphia Athletics for 11 years. He went to the Red Sox for 7 years. Cubs for a couple, and then finished back with the Phillies for a year. Came back to Philly.
Seems like he's best known as a Red Sox, but maybe that's just.
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably pretty much best known for being a Red Sox. But I mean, 7 years in the middle of his career. 9-time All-Star. Most of those with the Red Sox. All of those with the Red Sox. A couple of them with the Philadelphia A's before that. 2-time World Series champ. Obviously not with the Red Sox back then in the 30s, but with the Philly Athletics. 3-time AL MVP, Triple Crown in 33, batting champion, home run leader. And, list goes on and on. He's, of course, in Cooperstown as well. Just double X, like we said. Jimmy Fox. Is he? Maybe he's a distant cousin of Red? No?
I don't think so, no.
Probably not. No.
But I don't think so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But he is Samantha's father.
He's Samantha's grandfather or father?
Father.
Okay. I'll buy
it.
Really? Yeah, why not?
Yeah, all right. I'll buy that.
Why not? If Albert Pujols is a Bible salesman, Jimmy Fox is Samantha's.
Yeah, come on with you guys. Our Jimmy, the stats guy, is off this week, so we can't check any of this.
So we can't check any of this stuff. We'll have to get back to you and let you know. All right, number 2, Jimmy Fox. All right, folks, that brings us to our number 1 first baseman of all time. Who could it possibly be?
Who could it be at number 1?
It would be Mr. Henry Louis Gehrig, born Heinrich Ludwig Gehrig.
Von Gehrig.
The Iron Horse.
Ludwig von Gehrig.
Ludwig von Gehrig. Yeah. Lou Gehrig, folks. Yeah, Iron Horse was definitely a nickname for him, that's for sure.
And the only person on this list that has a disease named after him.
True.
Although Humpus Pumpus is loosely...
Not the official name of a disease, but that's what a lot of the doctors call it.
Hankus Pankus. It's officially called Lumpuckaroo the Blowhole.
Humpus Pumpus, I don't think was the actual.
You got a little case of the Humpus Pumpus.
Yeah,
at least it's not Lou Gehrig's disease.
Now I don't have any Humpus Pumpus medicine, but I got some Hankus Pankus medicine here.
Hankus Pankus ointment.
Do the second thing. Just rub this ointment on the affected area 9 times a day.
And
maybe get a friend to do it
before you have your Humpus Pumpus.
Get a friend.
Get rid of your Hankus Pankus.
All right, this podcast has just gone down a very weird rabbit hole, I swear. Right, let's talk about Lou Gehrig for a couple minutes. Shall we do that?
Let's talk about Lou Gehrig.
All right, 7-time, plays entire career with the Yankees, 23 through 39. 7-time All-Star, 6-time World Series champ, 2-time AL MVP, Triple Crown, AL batting champion, home run leader 3 times, 5-time RBI leader. Hit 4 home runs in 1 game on June 3rd, 1932. Yankees captain from 35 to 39, obviously. His number 4 is retired. Monument Park honoree. Major League Baseball all-century team and all-time team. And, of course, the gentleman is in Cooperstown. And he was inducted the year he passed. So, there you go. The Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig.
Lou Gehrig.
Number 1 first baseman on our list. Anything?
He's pretty darn good.
Yeah, I mean,
the consensus number 1.
He was the consensus.
Yeah, it's pretty much everybody's consensus number 1. I don't think there's.
I mean, you could argue he's maybe one of the best baseball players of all time.
Yeah.
A lot of people would have him number 1 on that list. So.
That's for sure. That is for sure. So, all right. Well, there you go. That is our top 10. Sorry about that. Our top 10, which is actually 15.
Our top 9D.
Our top 15 first baseman of all time.
And just a quick note, according to both the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame, which is www.stlshof.com, as well as baseball.fandom.com or Baseball Wikia, Stan Musial, 1,890 games in the outfield and 1,016 at first base.
There you go.
So a few more in the outfield, but I think he was known more as a first baseman.
First baseman, yeah.
Musial?
Outfielder.
Yeah.
Musial, yeah.
And how many times does it say that he was an all-star on that website?
27. 6.
6.
6-time all-star, 24-time Bible Salesman of the Year.
It says 11D.
1100-time
All-Star.
11-time All-Star. That's a lot.
That's pretty good.
Pretty high. So, all right. Well, that'll bring us to this week's segment of Old Balls. Old Balls. Harry, tell us who this week's Old Balls recipient is.
This week's Old Balls is none other than Mr. Wilver Dornell Stargell, a.k.a. Pops, a.k.a. Willie Stargell. Yep. Played left field, but I think I remember him mostly as a first baseman on those incredible Pittsburgh Pirates teams of the 70s, 2-time World Series champion. And he became the first and currently only player to win the National League Most Valuable MVP, National League Championship Series MVP award, and World Series MVP award in one season. And, he almost made my list. He was a 7-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion, 2-time NL home run leader. and he might have been on what I consider to be maybe the coolest team of the 70s. Any team that used to play Sister Sledge after winning games, I was just, they had like hats that were like square and they put pins on them. And as a young kid, I was just like, I don't know who this team is, but they've got Dave Parker, Willie Stargell, and Kent TeCulvey, and they're pretty good. And they were. Stargell won the World Series in 71 and 79 with the Pirates. And he was, he's one of those guys who was a really big home run hitter. He hit 475 home runs, batted .282 at almost 2,300 hits and over 1,500 runs batted in. And Roberto Clemente said that he probably had at least 400 fly balls to the warning track in Riverfront Stadium that would have been home runs at almost any other ballpark. Sure. So, he's one of those, I think he's kind of an icon of that era. He was sort of towards the end of his career. Actually, he was at the end of his career when they won when he won his second World Series with them. And they weren't really favored that year. They kind of came out of nowhere, and it was a little bit of a phenomenon. And, late 70s was a pretty good time to be a Pittsburgh sports fan.
Sure.
And he was, again, one of those guys who just, I think was sort of representative of that era. He's kind of an old school guy. He was the old veteran who came through in the clutch and was a great first baseman. And I think a guy who's probably, like, if we did a top 30, I think would definitely be on that list, but a little bit on the outskirts of our top 12. But
15.
Nonetheless, a Hall of Famer and one of the best Pittsburgh Pirates of all time, for sure. Maybe, other than one or two other people, I think he's probably,
him,
Clemente, and
big personalities on that team. Parker was certainly to be one of the most imposing players on the field.
Well, he was in his prime then too.
But then you'd see him after the game, and these guys were having fun, and they were like human beings. And listen, to capture the hearts of not only Pennsylvanians but a lot of the nation too. At a time, as you just said, when it was the Steelers were dominant, right? Is one word, and all of a sudden here was this. There's a baseball team. in Pittsburgh as well. So that's quite an accomplishment to kind of take their minds off. Not that no one cared about the Steelers for those few months or whatever, but to be in that same conversation, that's a big deal.
It is, big time.
I think it was I guess it was 79 where him and Terry Bradshaw were Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year. So I mean, 2 championships in one stadium. So it was, and just Chuck Tanner, and it was a cool team, and the Yankees weren't in it that year. So I was like, I'm gonna root for this team. I don't know, they got weird uniforms and a guy who throws underhand. So how can I not root for this team?
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
Willie Stargell, this week's Old Balls.
This week's Old Balls.
Old balls.
All right. Good job. Next week for Old Balls, we will
Hocus Hankus Pankus.
Hankus Pankus. Yes.
Next week's Hankus Pankus award goes to.
Well, next week's Old Balls will be. Oh crap! Who's the Focus guitarist?
Focus?
Yeah, Hocus
Pocus by Focus. Yeah.
I don't know.
Jan, what's his last name? Jan something.
Jan Wenner?
Not Jan Stenerud.
Jan Stenerud.
Jan. He's they're like from Iceland or something.
I don't know.
Jan Ackerman.
Yeah, I would have had a better chance.
You don't know Hocus Pocus by Focus?
I know the song Hocus Pocus by Focus. Absolutely. Yeah, sure.
They must have a keyboard in it.
Oh, it does.
Patch 11, just that.
Well, you should look that up. It's quite a piece of music.
It is. It's very good. All right, let's move on to a little NFL action. I think there was a draft last week, I heard.
Oh my God!
But then I shut the window.
A year ago.
Wasn't that like a month ago?
It feels like a month ago.
Only 6 days ago, 5 and 4 actually too.
Jets good, Giants good. Let's move on.
There you go. Let's we're gonna revisit our picks. I got to pull this up right here.
I think I won big time, right? I had 9 out of the 15 right.
You had 15 out of the 9 right. Yes, you did. So let's pull these up. Okay, we're gonna start with Radio Pete's right here. Trevor Lawrence. You had 3 right. You had Trevor Lawrence.
The first three.
The first 3. Zach Wilson, and of course, you were the only one that actually picked that Trey Lance was going to the 49ers. Harry, you had 2 right. The first 2, Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson.
Everybody had the first 2 right.
Of course, right, yeah. And then, of course, I also had Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. I also had Kyle Pitts going to the Falcons. So we both had 3. Pete,
wow, I thought one of you guys would have smoked me.
But of our 15, how many of them got drafted in the top 15?
Of our 15, how many of the teams drafted in the top 15?
No, the players.
Oh, the players?
Yeah.
That's one
a
that
lot
I
of
didn't
them.
do. I did a lot of them, yeah, Sure. Trevor Lawrence.
But not all of our picks got drafted. So I wonder who had the more of the. I wonder whose players who had the most players
drafted.
Yeah.
Sure, we can do this really quick right now. Let's take a look at it while you guys chat. I'll total them up here. He went.
Any big surprises? I don't really think there was too many big surprises other than the fact that the Broncos not taking a quarterback tells me that there's something brewing.
Well, listen, you might have one of the all-time great quarterbacks coming your way.
Something's brewing.
Something is brewing, you think?
If that circus could turn out very good for...
I think Rodgers I think it was a done deal with the 49ers, and the 49ers backed out of it. And I don't think they're going to be able to go back to that, especially now that they've, taken another quarterback. And it sounded like they just didn't want Garoppolo.
Right.
I think that the way I look at it is what teams don't have a young quarterback or have a quarterback that they are just not sold on. Which teams are completely unresolved at quarterback? And the Broncos jumped to the top of that list.
Broncos are definitely at the top of that list.
And they have it. And I think they, they're a mid-market team, much like Green Bay, with diehard sports fans, and where football rules the roost.
Yep.
And people are saying, "Oh, he's going to go to the Cleveland Browns." Cleveland's not going to take Rodgers. And the Broncos have a history of saying, "Okay, we're in it for the next 2 to 3 years by taking older, veteran, all-star, Hall of Fame quarterbacks to win a championship now."
Yep.
And I'm okay with that because I'm a big believer that sports are about this year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The days of sort of building a team for 4 or 5 years.
There are no more dynasties.
It's over.
The Patriots bucked the system by being a dynasty, but they did it with one, maybe, they did it with a handful of core players, and they brought everybody else in. It was the system, right? As we always say,
right.
that made them the dynasty, not the players. So,
so
they built to win that year every year. So they were a dynasty per se, but they were building each year, like you're saying, too.
The other thing is Rodgers' fiance lives in Boulder, Colorado for most of the year. Yeah. So, it's put
you
some
know
close.
Her?
No, not met her. But I know her friend, though.
You do?
Clarence, yeah. She's very nice. Clarence the Clown delivered.
Clarence the Clown, right?
He delivered Willie McCovey.
He delivered Willie McCovey. Right?
He did, yeah. I don't know. I think the Packers could do one thing. They could fire their GM and get Rodgers some help, but it almost seems like they're at a little bit of stalemate, and they didn't really do anything to help. He wants them to invest in a team now to win now.
Listen,
and they're on the doorstep.
Yeah.
They drafted a guy named Rodgers, a wide receiver.
They did.
Rodgers or Rodgers.
Mm-hmm. I know.
But,
Rodgers.
I just think he wants out.
There are those people that say, listen, the last 10 years, 9 out of the 10 first picks in the draft have been defensive guys, and the other one is Love, right?
Mm-hmm.
If this relationship is broken, I think there's...
There's
those who say, those defensive players will help Aaron Rodgers. But I mean, you got to get him some offensive weapons.
I mean, now they say they're not going to trade him to an NFC team, and I get that. But there is one team.
Yeah.
Who has invested pretty heavily, and one could argue depth-wise has maybe depth-wise now, not talent-wise, depth-wise, the best receiving core in football. Right,
that would be the New York Giants.
Can you just sit back? Everybody, close your eyes and just picture Aaron Rodgers playing for the New York Giants.
Yeah, they had I forget who it was laying out what he thought the deals might be, and Slayton was part of the Giants package, but it was basically 3 number ones.
It was both next year's number ones, and then the following year's number one.
Yeah,
that's great.
Darius Slayton. I'm
all right with that, because I mean,
in a heartbeat.
Well, look at what Matt Stafford went for. Didn't he go for 2 number ones plus? What's his name? Who went to the Super Bowl?
Two number ones and Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. Yeah. I'd say the other team way more so than, well, maybe not way more, but more so than Cleveland. I disagree that they wouldn't do it. I don't think they would. No. But the team that I would say after Denver would probably be New Orleans.
New Orleans has no cap space.
They would be very interested.
Financially, they're just. It seems like they just can't do it. Yeah.
But as to
I
your
think
point,
their interest would be high.
To your point, though, I think that relationship is broken. There's just so much coming out for it to be all BS.
And we're not going to know for another month.
Overinflated, yeah.
Because he's not going to get traded until after June 2nd when the cap hit gets cut in half.
Exactly, yeah. And you're talking, I mean, there's reports out there that he savagely was mocking the Packers GM, Brian Gutekunst. Is that his name?
He might just retire and host Jeopardy.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Why not?
Well, he could do what Gronk did, right? Retire for a year, get away from Green Bay, host Jeopardy, and then come back the year after and go to wherever he wants for whatever he wants.
Become a wide receiver for Tom Brady.
Exactly. Well, that's tight end. But there's a report that Aaron Rodgers told prospective Packers free agents that he's likely not to be on the team next year.
Yeah.
The Packers are saying that they think that the 49ers and the Broncos tampered with Aaron Rodgers. I'm not exactly sure what that means, how they tampered with him, but, did they break his foil protection off or,
that's right.
Break the seal on that? I'm not sure.
They filled up his windshield washer fluid with something other than.
Exactly. Did a little.
Well, it's like the old when you used to go in the hotel and they'd have that paper sash around the toilet seat.
On the toilet, broke the sanitize for your protection. Yeah,
they tore the toilet sash.
I mean, I don't think there's. I mean, I think the Broncos' defense is going to be okay. There's a lot of what ifs there, but the Broncos. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, it makes the Broncos instant Super Bowl contenders." I'm like, no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
The Broncos
it makes them instantly better, but it doesn't
make them instantly better. But the Broncos, I mean, the Broncos don't have as much weapons on in the skilled position than a lot of teams.
No.
I mean, I really do think that if he wants to go to a team that does not have an all-star caliber quarterback or a quarterback that they're totally set on, then it seems like Oakland or Denver. But boy, if you want to play the last 3 or 4 years of your career in a high-profile place and make tons of money,
New York is a good place to do that.
Yeah,
there's one other place which would make me very unhappy, and that's Miami.
There you go.
I think Miami is I don't think they have the weapons that he's looking for. No. And I think
but he
for
makes
whatever
up
reason
a lot of weapons though.
Yeah,
you don't need that.
It does make people better, that's for sure. But
you don't think Devonta Adams is a Pro Bowl wide receiver by himself? Come on.
No, I'm not saying that, but
I mean, it remains to be seen. I think he can be. He has the potential certainly to be, but
I mean, you can put Rodgers on a team the same way you can put Brady on a team that, who are these guys? And
we're all assuming he wants to win another Super Bowl.
Right. He doesn't want to just get out of Green Bay and go play
does he?
Yeah, of course he does.
Well, then if he's looking at his best chance to win another Super Bowl, unless he wants to be Tom Brady's backup,
and if he went
to play to stay with the Packers.
Right, and if he went to the Super Bowl these past 2 years, in other words, won the NFC Championship game and then won one of the Super Bowls, I think this this conversation is moot because he's probably either retiring or at the very least, very happy in Green Bay.
There's just something there. They're rubbing each other the wrong way.
I think if they didn't draft a quarterback to replace him and then take the ball out of his hands,
he saw firsthand what that was like. 20 years ago or 15 or 16 years ago.
Yeah, and that's the way the Packers do things.
And can somebody please tell Brett Favre we don't care what he has to say?
Well, Brett Favre said he hopes Aaron Rodgers can win another Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers, but he's not optimistic that there will be another run, given what he knows about the rift between Rodgers and the team. So there you go.
Yeah.
Favre gut tells me Rodgers is done with the Packers.
Maybe he'll go to the Vikings.
There you go. Could you imagine?
Talk about somebody who made the Vikings instantly better. I mean, I always knew of Brett Favre and how good he was, but he went from a really good Green Bay team to a Vikings team that wasn't great. And didn't he take him to the NFC Championship?
He went to the NFC Championship, and I really thought he was going to beat Drew Brees in the Saints that year. I really did. But
he was unbelievable.
There was a year in between there that he was on another team, though.
Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm. And the most famous thing he did there was learn how to use his flip phone's camera.
There you go.
By the way, can somebody actually tell Terry Bradshaw no one cares what he thinks either?
I like Terry Bradshaw, but I don't care what he has to say.
I like Terry Bradshaw, but I'm not interested at all in his thoughts on Aaron Rodgers.
There you go.
No.
There you go. But getting back to the draft for a second, of the players that we all picked, 3 of the 15 players I picked did not get drafted in the top 15.
So however, you had 12.
I had 12 correct. Yes.
Nice.
You guys both had 13 correct. You only had 2 players.
Wow.
So, there you go. And also of the players that did not pick, of the teams that did not pick where they were supposed to pick, of those, some of them actually didn't even pick in the top 15 spots.
Right.
Of those, my Vikings pick actually did pick the player that I said they were going to pick. They just picked it at 23, not at 15 or 14. So,
let's see. I think that counts.
We were all. What's that?
So I kind of won.
Sure.
I was tied for the most right, and I had tied for the most total.
Well, we were both tied.
15.
Oh no, you had one more right than me.
Exactly.
But actually, no. If that Viking pick gives you 3 right?
It gives me 4 right.
4 right. Oh yeah. So then you won. See, I think that counts. I don't know, Harry. What do you think?
I don't.
Even though it wasn't.
I knew he wouldn't care.
All right, then I win. Fuck both of you.
You guys both win. I'm going to give you both smiley faces.
I'm just excited because I get to wash my towel.
There you go. There you go.
And no one else gets to.
And no one else gets it. You get to win. You win your tropical towel.
I get to keep my tropical towel.
You get to keep your tropical towel, and there you go.
And it's clean, and it'll be clean.
There you go. Another interesting thing out of Giants camp, if you will. 2 things actually. Daniel Jones, remember the hamstring injury last year?
No.
Apparently, when he was out for a few games, that's when Colt McCoy came in and beat Seattle because Daniel Jones was out in Miami.
Pew pew pew.
Exactly. Apparently, came out in an interview not a few days ago that the hamstring injury was actually a lot worse than it was. And even when he came back and played at the end of the year, he's still playing through it. So whether it matters or not, it just came out the other day. But this was, I found it a little interesting too. Now, this has really anything to do with football, but Grayscale is a Bitcoin company. Grayscale becomes the first cryptocurrency to partner with an NFL team, and that would be the Giants. I'm not exactly sure what that partnership entails.
Can Bitcoins block?
If they can, please sign them up. Put them on the field, please.
Are there any Bitcoin left tackles? Great. Can Grayscale play right guard?
Exactly. Oh, that guy. I'm telling you, that left tackle.
Is it going to be Nate Solder? I don't know.
I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
I think it's going to. Well, unless they bring somebody else up. But you know what? I've been.
It has to be right. They're giving them all
at
that
this
money.
point, unless they're bringing somebody. I mean, they rotated around. They've rotated around, and they were playing better. They were gelling, if you will, as a group. You bring back in Pat Flaherty this year. Who knows? I mean, they didn't pick one offensive.
The Giants have like 12
draft,
receivers. How are they going to play them all?
they're going to line some of them up on the line, right?
Yeah.
So exactly
12.
Well, they're going to go center. They're going to go with a 3 tight end set, and that's going to be the right side of the line. So
there you go.
They're all down. But who knows? On the Jets note, though, Pete, I don't know if you heard this. Quentin Williams broke a bone in his foot. Did you hear that?
I had not heard that. So
Quentin Williams broke a bone in his foot during a workout in Florham Park. He needs surgery, but he'll only be out for about 8 to 10 weeks after the surgery. So he will miss OTAs and minicamp, but he should not.
He'll be back for the beginning again.
That's probably why he did it.
Yeah. So.
It's like, I don't want to do OTAs.
He's like, it hurts. My doctor says I need surgery. Okay, I'll be out until training camp. See ya.
Team doctor said, I don't know, it looks like a stubbed toe to me. But no, it's broken.
Needs a little bit of tweaking.
Dr. Boombot said it was broken.
Dr. Boombots.
Dr. Knuckles.
Dr. Knuckles.
Dr. Knuckles said it's broken.
Dr. Knuckles. What's Dr. Knuckles' middle name? Deep. All right.
Knuckles Deep.
Knuckles Deep.
Dr. Knuckles Deep. Please report.
Please report to Quentin Williams' toe.
Gynecology. Please report to the Humpus Pumpus room.
Humpus Pumpus. It's a separate room. We got it. All right. Pete, you have anything else on
the Jets?
I just saw your comments, though. Pat, Harry sent us 2 private comments. We both get smiley faces. There you go.
There we go.
There we go.
I can die a happy man. Then.
There you go. You gotta love it. All right. You got anything else on your Jets?
No. Listen, I think both teams had a good draft.
I agree.
The draft itself was a fucking shit show.
What? All right. I don't want to waste time. Again, you guys are going to have to explain something to me. No. What was the fucking Frazier's dad armchair doing?
No, see, now that would have been funnier if it was actually Frazier's dad's chair.
I think he died. Yeah.
Well, no, the chair was,
the chair just couldn't die.
Brought the chair there and put that out instead of
what was that?
It was the chair that Roger Goodell was sitting in last year when he was doing the draft from home.
Who gives a shit?
And he brought one member of the fandom from each team during those first-round picks to sit in that chair.
Yeah. And I will say
this. It took way too long.
It took way too long. It
was like 4 hours.
Who do the Kings of Leon have pictures of? That they get to, not that they just get to play a song, but they get to perform a concert.
They're way better than Rascal Flatts.
Whole goddamn thing. That's true. That's true.
And nothing against them, but there was in the beginning, and there's probably not a lot of banter you want to hear anyway, but there were some things I was listening to, watching the show. There's some points that you could barely hear the commentators over Kings of Leon. The audio was really screwed up.
They should have shoved Booger McFarlane in the bass drum.
Yeah,
that I would have been fine with.
Although I will say this,
he is horrible.
He's terrible. He's
really bad.
And I will say this, and it'd be very un-PC, but I thought the majority of people they brought up to sit in that chair, an excellent representation of America. Big, fat, crazy.
That chair got to work out.
Like I would have fit in as the Jets representative there. I could have waddled up onto that stage.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they did with that chair. I would have,
Something tells me Roger Goodell did not take it back home.
They probably
Roger Goodell felt like a greeter at Walmart.
Probably burned it, but yeah. and look, and Goodell, high-fiving and hugging people.
People jumping into his arms. I'm like, I realize
look, he's not a good guy.
Yeah.
Goodell's not a good guy. He needs to embrace you're an asshole villain. Just be that, stop trying to, be cool and high five people. Just be a dick. That's what you're good at.
Exactly.
And we never see Adam Silver hugging people because he'd get crushed.
Well, he's a germaphobe, I think.
I want to see Adam Silver catch a 7'3" Nigerian in his arms.
Yeah, it was. And yet we watch. But the thing that really makes me mad is they knew we were going to watch.
Yeah, right? Of course.
And then we're waiting, and I was tweeting like, "Oh, it's 8:07 now, and they still haven't made a pick." It's But they had us. They had us.
The big game that John and I were playing was the over-under as to when you were going to go to bed. We thought you'd make it to pick 12, but you only made it to pick 8.
I think did I only make it to 8?
I don't know.
No, I
like
think
that, yeah.
I actually stayed up. Actually, I think I did watch the first 15. I was like, I have to watch the first.
No,
15.
he did. You
Yeah,
definitely
I
did
thought
watch
the
the
Cowboys
first.
did well in the draft.
That doesn't mean I wasn't sleeping after
Yes.
pick 8,
Right.
but I was sitting at the table like this.
I missed. Yeah, I was just like.
So yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal.
But hey, you know what? They got through it. I don't understand why they did the chair, but hey,
Look, I'll say this.
And then they had it back out there the next day
Yeah.
with nobody coming up. What move the chair? They had a whole all night.
I'd rather go see Musial the musical in 1943 than watch the NFL.
Oh no, it was
draft.
80 to 2000. Yeah,
It was 80 to 2000. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Right.
What's his name? Played us. Was in it for many years. Who's the big Broadway guy? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Manuel Miranda.
No, beforehand.
Yeah.
If I had the guy's name,
Tony Danza.
The joke would be funny if I had the guy's name.
Well,
I'll come back to it.
The draft grades that were given out, the Dolphins, the Vikings, the Browns, the Bears, the Jets, all got A's. 49ers, Bills, Bucks, Lions, Falcons, and Giants, and Ravens, and Chargers all got A minuses. So apparently it was a great draft for everybody.
How'd Buffalo do?
It was Nathan Lane who played Stan Musial.
Nathan Lane. There you go. Actually,
and the Nuggets are beating the Knicks 26-6.
Lovely.
That's early, though.
And it's in the fourth.
It's early in the season.
It's early in the season. There you go. Who did you ask? How did the Bills do?
Yeah.
Bills. I'm getting to the Bills.
They didn't have a top pick, did they?
No, they didn't.
That's because I think they were still, yeah.
They have rated the worst. The Cowboys have a C minus, and the Raiders are the 31st, and the Raiders have a D rating. They're
Nice.
32nd. They're last.
John Gruden's going to find a way to get out of that contract before it ends.
Probably.
Yeah, why, if you're Aaron Rodgers, why would you want to go to that mess?
Yeah,
That's crazy. I said it. The Bills have an A minus. They're in seventh.
A minus. Okay.
A minus. Yeah. So.
yeah. If Aaron Rodgers is going to go to the Raiders, then that would be a team he would. If he's going to stay with the Packers or go to the Raiders, those GMs would have to be fired.
Exactly. Unbelievable. On a note of the Kentucky Derby, but it involves football. I'll just say it. Did you see see the outfit that Tom Brady wore?
No.
Yeah. This would be the outfit that Tom Brady wore.
All right. Well,
Better than Cam Newton.
Is it? I thought it was Cam Newton actually.
He looks like
he looks like an Undertaker.
Or I don't know what he looks like.
Like
He's
a post-
confused.
I'll tell you exactly who he looks like.
Okay.
He looks like Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There it is, right there.
Or Jim Carrey's character. Is that Jim Carrey?
No, that's Christopher Lloyd.
He looks
But
like Jim
might as
Carrey's
well be.
character. Yeah.
He looks like Jim Carrey playing Christopher Lloyd's character Judge Doom from
That's
Who Framed
very
Roger Rabbit.
really
There you
good. I like that. It's a good look.
Good call.
It's a great call. There you go.
Yeah. Only he has 7 rings.
Exactly. And Christopher Lloyd only has 3.
Mm-hmm.
But he only went to 1 Super Bowl, so
That's right.
that doesn't work. Anyway. All right. So that pretty much should wrap up NFL, I think.
God, I hope so.
And, all right, let's talk a little NBA. What did you say now?
We probably won't have to talk about it for 2 weeks. Then something will happen.
Probably, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the Knicks are losing 26-6 right now. Is that what you're saying?
That's what it was.
It's 26-7 right now.
It's 26-7, so they got a point.
Obviously.
Somebody hit it, not going to run.
26-6 is what I'm saying. But
All right, let's pull that up.
Let me refresh.
26-7. You're all right.
Somebody hit a free throw. How about that?
Look at that.
Reggie Bullock's got 4 points. So He's leading the team.
26-7. Yeah, I didn't expect the.
They're making this the Randall versus Jokic, and Jokic has 16 points with 2.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Yeah, 6 rebounds. Randall's got 1 point.
Bullock has 1 rebound and 4 points.
How many of those rebounds are off of Randall misses?
Probably a few. Yeah, at least 4.
With 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter, the probability of Denver winning is over 90%.
Well, don't. I mean, I don't want either team to lose, but I think it's more critical the Nuggets.
It's gonna be a tie. It's like, yeah.
Well, look, the Knicks are doing. They won what? They're 9 in a row, and then they lost one. And
yeah, they're 9 and they have the best record of the last 10 right now in the entire NBA. They're 9-1 in the last 10.
They're 9-2 in the last 10.
They're great. They're a great story.
Yeah,
technically. They're a great story. They've won 3 in a row until tonight, but they're still holding on to that fourth space.
Yeah,
fourth seed. So it should be interesting. I mean, I think it's destined to be the Knicks and the Hawks in that first round game. Just a matter of who's playing who or where they're playing, I should say, for the first. But we'll see. What about the Nets?
By the way, Jokic has 18 points.
Now he has 18. Look at that.
2 minutes left.
I think I said 2 weeks ago, and I'll reiterate now: the Nets are not going to win the NBA championship this year.
No,
they're not going to have enough guys on the court. I don't think they can stay healthy enough.
Yeah,
and
the Bucks look like they have their number too. I mean, both games.
The Bucks are starting to play together.
They're starting to play defense too.
And the same thing the Nets had. The Bucks had. The Bucks have a lot of new players on this team.
Yeah,
and Bobby Portis coming off the bench. Their second team is different. They got
Drew Holiday.
PJ Tucker is starting now for them. He's not scoring a lot, but Drew Holiday is Brooke Lopez is start. They're kind of an interesting team, and they match up well. They play good, tough defense against the Nets, and the Nets don't respond well to that.
And they are, finding ways to score without making Giannis always be. It's not Giannis or nothing. They can do other things now, and the Nets are an absolutely terrible defensive team. They're just horrible.
Although, speaking of Giannis and KD, the two of them on Sunday's game combined for 91 points.
They were amazing.
Yeah, that was incredible. That was incredible.
And they were right back at it yesterday too. But
yeah. Now look, there was a period when Durant was out. You might remember that. It was short, and Harden and Kyrie were the two, the big two, and they actually played some defense, and that was sparked mostly by James Harden. And Kyrie kind of picked his head up, but since Harden's been out, much more lackadaisical, and they're near the bottom of the league in defense. And these other teams are too good. And I just don't believe all three are going to be on the court. And probably, it's conventional wisdom would say either Durant and Irving or Durant and Harden would be the two best combinations of two to win. But look,
this might be another year like 2 years ago when Toronto won it, in that I think the Nets are going to be struggling with injuries, and it looks like the Lakers are as well.
Lakers are on the verge of slipping into the play-in tournament.
And yes, Phoenix and Utah are good, but the Clippers and the Nuggets beat the Clippers pretty handily the other night.
Yeah.
I always said I always wanted to see the Nuggets without Jamal Murray, and I didn't want him to get hurt, obviously. And I like Jamal Murray, but they're a better team without him. Yeah. Now they need some other pieces, and they need that shooter.
Right.
But it forces the ball in Jokic's hands more. He's got, against a good defensive team in the Knicks, he's got 20 points in the first quarter and 6 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 2 assists. Yeah.
He's just a nut. He's just insane the way he's playing right now.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this though: before the season started,
22 points. I'm sorry,
22 points now.
In the first quarter.
If I told you, God, so he's approaching. He's looking like he's going to hit 88 points.
88. He's going to beat Wilt.
Well, he's probably going to throw in a three-quarter court 3-pointer right at the buzzer.
Three-quarter point.
He'll end up with 25
And
at
he
the end
gets
of the
6
first.
points for that, right?
3/4 of a point.
3/4 of a point, right? If I told you before the season started that a week and change before the end of the season, the Knicks and the Lakers would have the same record, would you believe me?
Well, I knew. The other team in the West that I'm telling you,
you would have immediately thought that, okay, the Lakers
Pacers.
suck. The Lakers are horrible. The Lakers are tanking, but no. Yeah, 37-28, that's crazy. But
it's going to be an interesting playoffs, especially if Harden and LeBron can't get back and sort of play some meaningful games towards the end of the. The Lakers look good the other night against the Nuggets. Anthony Davis had, but they seem to be really lacking in depth, and that'll hurt him in the playoffs. I'm not sure. Anthony Davis just always looks like he's always on the side being tended to by a trainer,
right?
And if he goes down, God forbid, it's over.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and LeBron, I guess, is out for a game or two with the ankle soreness returning, and suddenly he's not a big fan of the. I don't think LeBron James ever cared about who was in 7th, 8th, or 9th, or 10th place before in his career.
Never.
He was always in first.
Yeah, imagine if the Lakers have to be part of this play-in game.
They're about right. Yeah, that's crazy.
And they have to play, and they wind up having to play
Portland,
or well, I was going to say Golden State, but even Portland would have been.
There's Portland out of it, right?
No, Portland's in 7th,
right on the bubble, right?
Portland's in 7, and Golden State's in 8.
Portland is.
But if the Lakers drop down,
if the Lakers drop down to 7,
somebody else pops up, obviously. So
I think right now Portland's a better team than the Lakers. I think Portland's better than Dallas.
Yeah,
I don't want to play any of those three teams.
But Golden State is coming on, but that's Steph.
For the Lakers to play Portland in the play-in game, the Warriors would have to be playing better to jump up to 6, and I don't think that's going to happen. So it would be the Lakers,
or the Blazers would jump up to 6. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
that's more likely.
Well, that's I was going to say. Yeah, the Blazers will probably jump up to 6,
but Dallas could fall down.
But if the Lakers go to 7, they have to play Utah.
Mm-hmm.
So have fun with that, and we'll see you next year.
Yeah, it's all Utah. Really, it's all about Donovan Mitchell getting healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
Utah is only 6-4 in their last 10 games.
Yeah, but unless LeBron and AD come back, they're healthy, they're strong. If they slip down into that play-in, if they come out of it, I should say they would have to play. They would have to play Utah, but LeBron's hurt.
Yep.
He's not right. He came back and he had to go out again. So. If they get into that tournament again, even coming out of it, they're, have fun playing the Jazz.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
One thing with basketball,
that's your reward.
One thing I do want to mention in basketball, I know he's not everybody's. I think he gets a bad rap. This is one of the few things that me and Stephen A. Smith agree upon. But congratulations to Carmelo Anthony, who is now 10th all time in scoring.
Mm-hmm.
You look at what he's doing this year. I mean, coming off the bench tonight, he played 22 minutes tonight, scored 16 points, and was a plus 29. Shot 5 of 8 from the field. He's a big part of this Portland team that's pretty deep. And this, I mean, I don't want to play Portland in the playoffs.
141 points tonight. That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy.
By the way, Mets are up 4-0 on the Cards. And the Astros and Yankees are tied in the 7th.
There you go.
3 apiece.
They're tied at 3. Who's winning?
One of those teams. Yeah, the Bears.
The Bears. So,
we forgot to mention that. Did you guys? I forgot to mention. Did you guys see the look on Justin Fields' face when he was drafted by Chicago?
He did not look happy.
He did not look happy.
He never looks happy, though.
Yeah, I know,
That's
but
true.
I mean,
you got to give him that. He doesn't really have a.
But my point was,
poker face.
He and the group that he was with didn't exactly jump for joy.
They were not happy going to
Chicago. Like whoever got drafted immediately after him, they saw those two things back to back, and one group was jumping and high fiving and having a thrill.
Hey,
Justin Fields was like,
If he can do what he's touted to do, and he can actually become a high-end quarterback in this league. He can actually work his way to become the best quarterback ever that Chicago ever had.
Yeah,
and that's one of the oldest teams in the league, and he can make that happen.
They've never had a great quarterback.
That's my point. So if he actually becomes a great quarterback, he can wind up finally being the best quarterback that Chicago's ever had.
Yeah, and if he's good this year, it's not like they're an absolutely decrepit team.
No,
they got they just need a good quarterback, and they'll be in the thick of it. Anyway,
right.
I forgot to mention that before.
It's a very good point. It's a very good point.
And now back to the NBA,
where the Knicks are still losing.
Where the Knicks are losing, and
they've gotten a lot closer.
14, the Nets are underachieving, and everyone's loving except for Laker fans, is loving the Lakers slide.
There you go. Everybody except for Laker fans. Anyway, so that's what it's going to be an interesting.
Getting close
it's
to
going to
the
be
NBA playoffs.
It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks from last night is the play-in tournament, and 2 weeks from this coming Saturday is the beginning of the playoffs. So. We got a week and change left of basketball. We're week and a half.
I'm looking forward. I think it's going to be fun.
Who do we think is going to win the West? Is it going to be Phoenix?
Let's take a look. Who's going to win the West?
Is it going to be Utah?
If the Lakers are healthy, I still think it'll be the Lakers. I think I know. I just have a gut feeling about this. I think there's something about this Nuggets team. I think they're going to be in the finals again. And I think they're going to give whoever they have a run for their money.
I'm not going to blow smoke, and I know Phoenix is playing lights out, and so is Utah. And
they're both sliding a little. Utah's sliding a little bit,
and the Lakers, they
Phoenix are losing to Atlanta tonight.
Yeah. They can make a push. I think, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, Harry. I think the Nuggets are actually going to do something in the West. I really do. I think they're going to at least get to the Western Conference.
Hey, we got Austin Rivers, man. How could we go wrong?
There you go.
He's actually playing pretty good ball.
He's playing good, yeah.
The other thing is that it's made Michael Porter Jr.'s really stepped up. He's playing bigger minutes, and Campazzo's playing great basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. My sleeper in the West is Portland.
Yeah, it's that.
Mine's the
Clippers.
The Clippers aren't much of a sleeper, but I agree with you. They're also a scary team.
Yeah, I mean, as far as not. I don't think they were ever at the top of the.
I mean, you take one. You take one through 8, and there's only like one team that I wouldn't bet on in the West to win it. I think the rest of I'm just not sold on Dallas.
I was going to say Dallas would be the
one.
But
the rest of those teams, and you know what, Dallas on any given night with Doncic could get hot in one series.
They're right there too. Yeah. They're right there. Yeah. But. You know what? I just something tells me that Denver's at the very least. Denver's going to the Western Conference Finals.
Well, they're only up by 23 now. So,
is that all? I don't know.
All right. So,
you think they'll be able to hold a lead?
I don't know.
All right. So,
NBA.
So if I have to pick, I'll go out right now. If I have to say the Western Conference Finals are going to be the Nuggets. I'm going to say the Nuggets. I want to say the Blazers. I don't know if that would work out. But I don't think the Suns and the Jazz are both going to slip and just completely miss, getting to the conference finals. But screw it. What the hell? I'll say Nuggets and Blazers. There you go. That's my Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I don't think LA is going to be able to stay healthy.
Yeah.
I tend to agree that the Nuggets will be in the finals there. I'm gonna put my money on the. I'm not gonna put any money actually, but
you put your towel.
I want to say Phoenix because I think they're going to get it done, but I'm gonna take the Clippers as a little bit of a short dark horse or whatever the correct phrasing is. Not much of a dark horse, but I think the Clippers are
medium horse,
a medium dark horse coming together, and I think they're going to come out of the West.
So you say Nuggets and Clippers. I got Nuggets and
I think so because you got
Lakers.
you got Kawhi and you got playoff Rondo and a couple other guys. So yeah, I think the Clippers are going to win the West. How about that?
And you got the Clippers winning it. All right, Harry.
In the West?
Yeah, for the finals. Not winning it. Who's in the finals?
Lakers and Nuggets.
Lakers
and Nuggets. Okay.
Nuggets. All right, so we all got the Nuggets.
It's going to be a repeat of last year.
There you go. All right, and let's go to the East. Let's do our picks for the East there. Is it
Bucks and Sixers?
Bucks and Sixers?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to say that too. I'm going to say Bucks and Sixers. I think we're all in agreement there.
We all agree that Brooklyn is not going to make the finals.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I
hate to say it too. They're not going to be out and around. They'll play in the
no, but
the only reason why I say that is because of the way things sit right now. They're going to have to play Milwaukee before they get to the finals.
Well, if they have everybody though, if Harden is healthy and everybody is playing,
they won't.
I know it's not going to happen, and that's why they're not going to be there, right? But if they are,
then they win it.
Then they win.
But see, I think they might be there early. But I don't think they'll all be able to survive the rigors of the entire playoff.
I'm just waiting for the Kyrie Irving meltdown in the second round of the playoffs.
Well, there's always that possibility.
He's got a birthday party to go to in the beginning of June.
I just can't wait where he's MIA.
They could get Durant and Harden back.
Harden gets COVID at a strip club, and
they could get Durant and Harden back healthy, and then Kyrie flakes out, and
they're fun to root against.
Yeah, well.
Only because they are just so good when they're, all together.
Yeah, if they all get together and they're all playing and they're all healthy and they all stay healthy and they all stay healthy throughout the playoffs, nobody's beating them. They're winning.
I would like to see, and we haven't.
It's not going to happen.
We haven't seen a large sampling of this year, and I hope it doesn't happen because I think Kyrie's pretty healthy physically.
Right.
Yeah.
Physically,
I think that. Harden. I think if it was Durant and Harden and Kyrie was out for whatever reason against the Bucks the last few nights, right. I think the Nets would have at least split those games.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I do.
But I'll tell
you,
and that's not taking anything against Kyrie because he's a hell of a player.
Sure.
It's just something about Harden this year that
he's the catalyst.
A little bit, and he's when people give him out, he helps them defensively.
Yeah.
Defense.
Well, and he did what he needed.
I never thought I'd be saying those words. I never thought Cheney would be getting in trouble for speaking the truth, and James Harden would be praised for his defense.
He filled the role that was needed to be filled. The facilitator.
It's 52-26.
The facilitator. 52-26. Well, at least they're 52-28 now.
52-28. Knicks making a comeback.
Look at that. It's coming up.
Well, how many did they have at the end of the first? 7?
No, 12, I think.
12.
Well, okay. 12. So still they're rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
Derrick Rose is the leading scorer now with 11 points. Jokic still only has 24 points. He hasn't
only 24.
Yeah. Well, he had 20. He had 24 when the Nuggets had 34.
Now
they have 50.
He's been sitting for most of the second quarter.
Yeah, but sometimes he still actually gets some points.
Actually,
he's seated.
Actually, he hasn't played in the second quarter.
He passed him the ball. He took it free from the bench.
There's a reason why he hasn't scored in the second quarter. It's because he hasn't played yet. He's got 24 points and he's played 12 minutes.
Exactly.
Quick side note here. What do you think of the Wizards? It's been fun watching them, huh?
I want to watch them.
The Washington Wizards,
the Washington Wizards, yeah.
They're hanging tight with Milwaukee right now. They're only down by 5 in the third. I want to see. I don't want to play them in a play-in game. If it gets.
Yeah, I mean, they had a nice run and then they kind of faltered a little bit.
I still say they're going to make the playoffs.
I think they will too. Westbrook's been back on a tear.
The Bucks.
The
Bucks will definitely make the playoffs.
I'm going out on a limb, and I'm saying the Bucks are in the playoffs.
I mean, if you look at the playoff picture now, and it's the Pacers and the Wizards playing, I'll take
the Wizards.
Yeah, the Pacers, Indiana.
Pacers are down by 20 to Sacramento right now. Although Sacramento's a weird team that's way better than their record, but yeah.
Right.
Well, let me just get to this because. I wanted to bring this up, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this.
Go for it.
The play-in tournament in general, is this a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
Bad thing.
It's bad.
It's a bad thing. Even though it's keeping teams are playing hard because they want to get in.
It's much like baseball, where a team that can win 100 and whatever games can not make it to an actual playoff series because they lose one game.
I would rather see, if they're going to have these playing games, I would rather, and it's not going to happen, but
just have 9 and 10 or 8 and 9 play each other.
Right. Yeah. Just add in one more. I would rather see series for
just have 10
playoff
teams
games,
play.
or just have 10 teams. So because you're going to get, you're talking, somebody that's in seventh, they're in the seventh seed. All of a sudden they play one game and lose.
Well,
that's it.
But see, if you look,
5-game series.
5-game series. If you're going to do that, if not,
let's take that premise, because right now you'd have a 5-game series of the Sixers and the Wizards, the Nets and Pacers, the Bucks and Hornets. Here's where it gets interesting: the Knicks and the Miami Heat. Okay, and then you have Atlanta
Atlanta playing themselves.
Atlanta plays themselves. Atlanta plays Boston. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's keeping these teams in it.
And they're in it too. You can't be in. You can't win it if you're not in it.
Like if you look,
got to be in it to win it.
I mean, why not just let the Cavaliers play the 76ers one game? Half the game has to be played blindfolded and
one eye closed.
Yeah. And by the way, the Cavaliers get spotted 25 points.
25 points. Yeah. There you go.
But if you look like at the play-in teams now, as today, like Portland has got 37 wins.
Yeah.
All right, and they're going to, again, if it were now, they're going to go up against Golden State. Golden State's got 33 wins. Spurs have 31. Memphis has 32.
But
Washington.
Portland and Golden State would be in the playoffs normally, and Portland would be playing Utah, and Golden State would be playing the Suns.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of the wild card game in baseball. I don't
like the new wild card that they did last year with baseball. Yeah, I mean, you want to.
I don't like any of the wild card stuff.
It's got to be a series. None of this one game play-in stuff. It's just, especially if it's two teams that are vying for the only way they're going to get in. If there weren't any other way, that's one thing. But if you're taking a team that actually, won enough games that if they were in another division, they would have won a division. Yeah,
unless it's Yankees Red Sox 1978. Deal. Right. I don't want a one-game play-in.
It's just stupid, and that's not a wild card. That's a play-in.
If you really want to make the regular season worth nothing, then you're doing it
right,
because it's giving an unfair advantage to teams that are borderline.
Mm-hmm. So you can't. I mean, you're having half
the
teams in the playoffs.
So what would make this more legit in your mind? Just more games in the series?
I would either just do
How about what's worked for the last 25 years?
Exactly.
Just the top 8.
Top eight done. Top 8 done. If you're going to do anything, I would say have 9 and 10 play each other, and then the winner of that game play the 8th seed team.
That's still more than 50% of the teams in each league making the playoffs.
I don't agree with it. I'm saying, but that would make more sense.
No. What I'm saying is if it's just the top 8, like it always has been, it's still more than half the teams in the league.
Sure.
Making the playoffs.
Right. You already have more than half in.
Right, but then you'd also, how many games are left? How many games do they have left here? 44, 60?
7 games.
7 or 8. Yeah.
7 or 8 games. Yeah.
So, if that were the case,
Knicks have the night 6 games after tonight.
The Pacers and the Wizards, they'd be out of it. Mm-hmm. Right? They really don't have a legitimate shot.
No, the Pacers are 1.5 games out of the 8th spot.
8th spot, yeah.
The Wizards are only 2.5 games out of the 8th spot. Mm-hmm. 2 games out of the 8th spot.
2 games.
So they'd still be playing for it.
Yeah, pretty much the Raptors on down would be out.
Raptors are getting a little tough for them. Yeah, you're right.
But the Wizards and the Pacers would still be in it. But for another few days, and if they lost a couple, then yeah, it's out of reach.
I think what it does is it makes that team at 7 or 8 that's way ahead of the 9th or 10th team, and maybe what would be playing in a significant game go, fuck it, I'm not guaranteed a playoff spot anyway. I'm going to lose a couple games because who cares? If I have a worse record, then I get to play the worst team.
Right.
I don't know. I don't like it.
No, I don't really like it either. I was trying to figure out whether it's keeping more teams in it, keeping more of these games meaning something, and giving
so many teams in it.
I think it's a reaction to tanking, right? They're trying to keep these teams from tanking. if you've got a shot just to get into the play-in tournament, then you're going to be playing hard. You're going to be trying to get there.
Look, we learned how teams don't know how to tank.
Yeah. But also,
we've gone over this.
This season is a kind of strange because there is so much parity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's not. There's not usually, only 5 games between the 10th team and the 5th team or whatever.
Yeah.
Usually it's a little bit larger of a margin. So
sure.
But overall, I don't think I like it either.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. There's only another week and a half left of the season. We'll see how that plays out. We'll have a better idea, if not, confirmation on who's in, who's not, by the time we do our show next Wednesday. So
here's an interesting prop bet. We got 72 games this season, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Will the Nets have the big 3 in the lineup for more than 10% of their season?
No.
They only need one more game.
I don't think it'll happen.
They're not going to get it because Harden will be back for the playoffs
at all.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah,
Why would you want
I
to?
agree. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Here's something we could do. I think we should each write up our first and second team All NBA teams and see how close we get to. I think there's going to be some new people on the All NBA teams. I think Julius Randle's going to make it.
I think he is too.
He's got to. I think he's going to get some votes for MVP. Maybe not top, but he's going to build up some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Especially, I want if the Lakers and the Lakers are a little less of a sure shot, but if the Nets are healthy, then the Nets are the clear favorites in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Although Philly is surprisingly playing good basketball.
They are.
And the Bucks and Philly both are pretty good defensive teams who could maybe hammer a few wins out against the Nets in a 7-game series.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Nets are the clear favorites if they're healthy. If they're healthy, they're the clear favorites, even against the Lakers. The Lakers just don't seem to have the depth that they had last year. And, although, look, Marc Gasol had a hell of a game the other night. He's fine. They dug him out and put some jumper cables up to him and got him going. I mean, maybe some of these guys that you haven't seen since February are going to be well rested and able to play in the playoffs. I don't know.
Well, we will find out. Like I said, we'll have a little more. We'll know a little bit more, and some things a little bit more, and at least will be spelt out for us by the time we do the show next Wednesday. So.
By the way, just a quick update: the Wizards have pulled ahead of the Bucks.
Yeah, they have 106-103. Look at that. And it's 35-56. Hey, the Knicks are making a comeback. They're only 21 points down now.
Plenty of time left.
19, right?
Plenty of time left. Yeah. So there you go. All right. We will see how that goes. All right.
All right. I'm going to go watch my 2 favorite teams play each other.
Well, before you do that, there's a couple things in the NHL I do want to actually.
Yeah, we got to talk.
God.
Yeah.
Well, you're out in Denver, so you don't care. But
exactly.
I do. We have one of the best teams in the league.
You do. But
no, I'm saying you don't care about what we're going to talk about.
Are you going to talk about the Rangers?
We're going to talk about the Rangers, yeah.
Because it's one of the circuses here. This is the NHL circus.
This was ridiculous the other night. Okay, do you want to start
it? Do we want to talk about firing their president and who? What was Gordon's official job title?
Player, whatever. Yeah.
Let's see. General manager. There we go.
General manager. Yeah.
Yeah. John Davidson gone.
Gordon.
Yeah. President John Davidson gone. The GM Jeff Gordon gone. Chris Drury named president and GM. Mm-hmm. Associated president. He was promoted.
Brandon Drury? I thought he was playing baseball.
Chris Drury.
Oh, Chris Drury.
Associate GM on February 5th. It was promotion and assistant general manager since 2016. So, mm-hmm. Eliminated from the playoffs, mm-hmm. and a crazy statement coming out that probably came from ownership, when we know that's never good because anything that involves James Dolan is never good.
Do you have the statement right there? Because I actually have the entire statement.
No,
right
go ahead. Read how much of it or whatever, all of it, whatever you want to.
Well, this is in talking about Tom Wilson and the.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you have the other statement. You have the statement because of the firing.
No. I think he just made a generic statement about the firing, but the the real question is, go ahead with the statement about Tom Wilson, and I think these two things are related.
They're related, absolutely. Yeah.
The timing seems odd.
To bring anybody up to speed that wasn't sure, on Monday night the Rangers are playing the Capitals. Tom Wilson, who is just probably the dirtiest player in the NHL.
Yeah,
he's been suspended 17 times in the last week. He was suspended. He had to sit 7 games in March. Pavel Buchnevich was down on the ground and he sucker punched him from behind.
In the back of the head.
In the back of the head. Artemi Panarin pulled him off, and he whipped around and then grabbed Panarin and threw him down the ice and started banging his head on the ice. And now Panarin's out for the rest of the season. Not that it matters anyway because the season's over. But and the Rangers are out. But he was fined $5,000 for the punch on Pavel Buchnevich, and he was not. Yeah. He wasn't
suspended.
Not suspended, and
not
he wasn't
suspended.
fined. Nothing for slamming Artemi Panarin to the ice. Nothing.
He's been suspended 7 times, and he's one of the few real thugs left in the NHL because as they've gotten away from fighting, teams have stopped kind of having a goon on their team because goons usually aren't very good skaters.
Where's Barry Beck when you need him?
Right.
Wilson is kind of an anomaly, very much an anomaly, in that he's a really good player.
He's a great player.
Who also happens to be a scumbag.
Biggest dirtbag in the league. Yeah. When he was in the box, when he got penalized, he was mocking him while he was in the box.
Yeah,
and nobody seems to be able to want to challenge him. If that was the old days, somebody'd be jumping into the box.
But that's my point. Teams don't have anybody who's going to go. There's nobody on the Rangers who's going to intimidate him for sure. So you want to read the statement from the Rangers, which
statement from the Rangers
from Dolan.
The statement from the Rangers, obviously from Dolan, it came the other night, was like, the New York Rangers are extremely disappointed that the Capitals forward, Tom Wilson, was not suspended for his horrifying act of violence last night at Madison Square Garden. Wilson is a repeat offender with a long history of these types of acts, and we find it shocking that the NHL and their Department of Player Safety failed to take the appropriate action and suspend him indefinitely. Wilson's dangerous and reckless actions caused an injury to Artemi Panarin that will prevent him from playing again this season. We view this as a dereliction of duty by NHL head of player safety, George Parros, and believed he is unfit to continue in his current role.
Now, the theory is that Davidson and Gorton disagreed strongly, I think particularly with calling for... what the hell's his name? Parros to be fired, which is exactly what he was calling for.
Right.
And the theory is they disagreed strongly, and Dolan said, "Well, here's your
bye-bye, see ya, get out of here." Yeah.
But really, the bigger story is what the fuck is the NHL thinking, letting this guy get away with what?
You know what? This is probably one of the times that I actually agree with Dolan.
Yeah. Yeah,
this is very.
Oh no, I don't disagree with him either. He's already been suspended 7 times. This should have been number 8, and it shouldn't be 3 games or 5 games. He should be gone for the rest of the season, the playoffs, and maybe even part of next season.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to stop him, and they're sending a message.
He's probably
not going to do
it. Tonight in the Rangers Capital game, there was 72 combined penalty minutes in the first 4 minutes and 14 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They started the game with basically scrubs on their opening line, and a fight started with 1 second in, and then Brendan Smith of the Rangers fought Wilson on Wilson's first shift, 50 seconds into the game.
Sure.
And Wilson left with an undisclosed upper body injury. I didn't see any of these fights, but you knew this was going to happen.
Of course.
Well, the Rangers took, as they should have, matters into their own hands because the NHL did nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, again,
and they'll probably come back and find a bunch of Rangers for taking it into their own hands tonight. Yeah.
I'm not a Rangers fan, but I certainly sympathize or empathize with. I can't empathize. I'm not a hockey player either, but I can sympathize with what they're going through.
Sure.
They never should have had to do this, which you could say, well, they didn't have to, but yeah, they did. No, B, they never should have had the opportunity because he should have been suspended and off the ice.
Absolutely.
And the NHL did a really lousy job, obviously of disciplining him, but B, of nipping this in the bud, and now it's gotten to this.
I think the Rangers should have signed Barry Beck to a 1-day contract.
They should have signed Phil McCracken.
And Phil McCracken.
McCracken.
Or Ogie Oglethorpe.
Hoagie Oglethorpe and Hankus Pankus could have come back. And they could have all teamed up on him. But no, the NHL, it's a piss poor thing that they did.
Yeah,
it was absolutely ridiculous.
It's surprising, don't you think? Because every other action that they've had is contradictory to this.
Right.
Something's odd about this. I don't quite understand it.
Wilson is the, bar none, hands down, head and shoulders, the worst offender.
Absolutely.
He's really the only offender left.
He's the dirtiest,
And there's nobody to stop him. And the league didn't stop him. And I guess the Rangers did what they had to do. So, but now they're going to suffer. Now, again, if they were still in the playoffs, might have been a different story tonight. But depending on what is the NHL going to do to them now? Can you drop the hammer on them when you don't drop the hammer on Wilson?
Right, yeah, and they probably will. But here's my theory.
They can now because they're not in the playoffs. But
right, exactly. But to Wilson, it's not like Wilson is just a thug. So suspending him isn't going to do anything to the team. He's one of the best players on the Capitals. He's a great skater.
And the Capitals, let's face it, are a chippy kind of thuggy team.
Yeah.
And, even Ovechkin's
but they're within 2 points. They're within 2 points of the Penguins.
Of course.
So taking Wilson out, suspending him indefinitely, is going to affect that. So they basically are telling, if they do that, and which they should, it doesn't friggin' matter. But if they do that, they basically have, Capitals have to resign themselves to the fact that it's very possible they're not going to catch Pittsburgh. And they're the second seed. Who cares? Well, but I'm just saying that might have affected the NHL's decision because Washington is where they are, and Wilson is the type of skater he is for the Caps. And
if he was just a goon, then they might have suspended him. But he happens to be a very good player. Yeah. Actually, I believe it was Don LaGreca said this afternoon, if he were the Rangers, he would dump the puck in slowly, make the goalie come out and play it. And then somebody would drop the hammer on the goalie.
On the goalie.
You really want to drop the hammer on Wilson, though. That's who you.
But his point was, you took out the best player on the Rangers for the rest of the season, whether they were going to the playoffs or not. Right. And you should do the same thing to the Capitals. You want to?
Could you imagine if the Rangers actually played a little bit better and got into that fourth seed and they were. Ooh, they're getting into the playoffs, and now he does this, and Panarin's out for the playoffs. It's horrible.
So that was his point. Take out one of their best players, and Tom Wilson actually happens to be one of their best players. But again, somebody who's not as tough. Like he said, I'll be interested to see some footage of the fight. Hopefully, there'll be some around. But
Wilson
really isn't.
Yeah, we'll see it later. Wilson leaving with an undisclosed upper body injury just means that the Capitals are sitting him for the rest of get him out of there. Oh, he's hurt. He got a bruise. Let's get him back.
Broke his finger or something.
Next week, top 10 goons and / enforcers in NHL history.
There you go.
Anyway, a lousy situation, a lousy job by the NHL brass.
Yep, horrible, absolutely horrible. Just ridiculous. But and Carolina's got the most points on that note too, by the way. Avalanche are still playing, still skating good. Everybody's, it's winding down. And by the way, the regular season ends this weekend for NHL. So the playoffs start next week for the NHL.
There we go.
Yeah, they only
great. Now we have to talk about them.
56 games. Playoffs start next week. Playoffs actually start for the NHL before they start for the NBA. So but in any event, that's that. But yeah, just a horrible, horrible situation. And hopefully the NHL retracts, I should say, and gets this one right and makes up for it because it was just ridiculous that they did that. So anyway, well, there you go. That's all I got.
Yeah, really. That. I guess the beginning of that game was kind of like a slap shot.
It was slap shot. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Remember
the whistle blows, drop the gloves.
Dave Semenka. Ty Domi, remember
Ty Domi? I remember that
name. Dave Schultz, didn't he play for the Flyers?
Schultz, yeah,
the Hammer. God, yeah. Of course, out here we had Claude Lemieux. Who was the guy on the Red Wings? I can't remember, Barry Beck and Clark Gillies. That's all I remember. Going at it.
Oh yeah.
Well, listen, I don't. Maybe teams will start having one of those guys.
Got to get it. Keep an enforcer on the bench. That's what you got.
Yeah, but as you said, Wilson's really the only guy who's pulling any shit like that.
Well, they can just actually employ an enforcer just for Tom Wilson.
Yeah, if every team has an enforcer, and as soon as Wilson gets on the ice,
he's out.
Go after him.
Just go after him.
Club each other half to death.
He can't get his stick on the puck ever because the teams are always sending the enforcer out to kick the shit out of him.
End of the season, you got one player on each team who logs a total of 9 minutes. That's how long it takes him.
Putting on the foil, coach.
Putting on the foil. Old-time hockey, Eddie Shore.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, come on. If you're not bleeding during the national anthem, then it's not a hockey game.
Exactly. And that's just from walking out of your own locker room.
That's right. Old-time hockey.
That's still one of my favorite scenes after that fight when the ref, they're playing the national anthem, and he keeps turning around and looking at him, and he finally can't stand it anymore.
The Hanson brothers' glasses are broken.
Skates over and starts
just
yelling
bleeding at him. Yeah, he goes, "Shut up, man. Respect the anthem."
I'm trying to listen to the fucking song.
Yeah, Ogie Oglethorpe.
Oglethorpe. There you go.
All right, so perhaps Tom Wilson brings about the return of the enforcer.
I think
even if he doesn't get a whole lot of work, only against the Capitals.
Only against the Capitals, and only when Tom Wilson's skating.
That's when Tom Wilson gets on the ice.
That's it.
And that's our NHL report, folks.
And that is our NHL report. Anything else you want to talk about in the world of sports? Or
No.
I think we're good.
That's it.
I think we're good. All right. Well, on that note, we'll wrap the show up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.logroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Log Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at 7:30. And for those of you just wanting to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and Stitcher. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week and a wonderful weekend. Watch a lot of sports. And we will talk to you soon, folks. And Humpus Pumpus.
Yankees just took the lead in the 8th, by the way.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I got runners on first and third, and Gary Sanchez is at the plate.
Anyway, let's leave on a high.
So that might be your final score.
That is.
Have a good weekend, folks. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Peace.
Cheers.